What's going on versus team? That's right. The movie Avengers, the movie review Venom Mob Avengers are here. Or the movie review Justice League is here. That's right. The movie review team is here. That's right. We got Eric, Asian movie enthusiast, Mr. Tony of the Dead, Kyle Wong, Tom Cruise is here also. Master Chaos and the man, the myth, the legend, the showstopper, the main event, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Can I keep going? Or the world
already said my name.
Martial Art Hall of Famer, screenwriter, scriptwriter, actor. He does it all. He does it all. Author, all that good stuff. Did a documentary right there. That's right. The legendary Rick Myers. Thank you, sir. This is awesome. This is a treat for all of us martial arts fans. We are so happy that you are here. Take time out of your busy schedule to come hang out with us.
For a year.
Well, we still appreciate it. We know you are in demand. That's right. So just to remind, go ahead.
Equal time. You did Bruce Lee at the beginning.
Okay.
So I'm going to do Jet Li.
Do it.
That's it.
Bravo. That was brilliant. That was brilliant. Oh man. Oh, the Movie Dojo Army slowly trickling in right now. All right. That's right. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, guys. Movie Dojo Army watching and liking the video and hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Tonight's a special night. Not just because we got the legendary Rick here, but we're going to talk about two classics of the genre here. So just to remind the Movie Dojo Army that's just coming in, just who we have here. So again, we have writer and director, that's right, Master Chaos, who have done Blood Brothers. Make sure you guys check that movie out. That's right. Kyle Wong, martial arts stuntman, badass filmmaker. Keep an eye on his future project, Night Watch, which will also be coming out. And of course, got to show some love for Rick here with his documentary films of Fury. That's right. Let's see who's here. Who do we got here so far from the Movie Dojo Army? We got Michael Gonzalez, Phat, I love food, which I do. Devin, what's going on? V12, all right. Brandon Lewis in the house. Jake Hall, Severio. Oh yes. And Devin says I have Fist of Fury on DVD. Nice. Yes, I actually have the poll, so I'll still show the poll. The Movie Dojo Army, they voted which movie they think is the better of the two.
Which one it is?
I'm actually surprised, believe it or not. I'm actually kind of surprised. Yeah.
Okay.
Despite, I don't want to ruin it now. I will save some suspense. But this is versus. That's right. We're gonna pick. We pick two movies. It's either within the same genre to go up against each other, or they have the same concept. And that's what Versus is all about. And what we're going to do is we're going to go around in a circle. We're going to talk about the positives and the negatives, what we like, what we didn't like. And then after that, we're going to vote, which could be for any reason. One movie you think has better fight scenes than the other. You like this movie has a hot chick in it, right? Fuck it. Right? You like this one has no hot chick. And whatever reason it is, whatever reason it is, you guys get to vote and pick which is the winner of tonight, the better of the two, which we will get to in a second here. Who else is here? All right. Finkster in the house. All right. Here we go. We're going to get it cracking and get it going here. Rick, what have you been up to, my friend, before we get started?
Me? Oh, yeah, I'm the only Rick. I'm used to a lot of other Ricks. My Tai Chi class has like 4 Ricks.
Oh shit! Okay.
I'm very excited. I don't know if any of you have seen. This is the Ed Grossman. Nobody Does It Better. I am his. It's an oral history, and he's done Star Trek. He did this, and I contributed all the talking about the action scenes in James Bond movies.
Nice.
He's recently asked me to contribute to his upcoming Star Wars oral history.
Oh, all right.
Every lightsaber fight.
Oh, you're perfect for that.
And I just finished. He has a brand new book that he's in production. The Star Wars book is in production, but one that's just finishing the manuscript now is Gun Fu and the films of John Wick.
Oh.
Okay.
And
okay.
We couldn't read. I cannot guarantee this, but I may be the one who coined the phrase "gun fu."
Really?
Because I was in Hong Kong the night of A Better Tomorrow's premiere.
Oh.
I had met John Woo earlier in the day. I had no idea on the basis of the poster that he signed for me. I thought it was a movie about high school teachers. And I knew something was up because we couldn't find an empty seat in all of Hong Kong.
Wow.
Right.
And I'm working with his producer, Film Workshop. So finally we find one special screening, like at midnight, all the way on the other side of the island. One seat left. I go in and see it. I've never seen a Hong Kong audience react like that. And I turn to the Film Workshop guys and I say, "That's not kung fu. That's gun fu."
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Using it in Inside Kung Fu magazine and So I was thrilled to be able to go back and write about the history of gun fu and what separates it. And I also separated it from gun jitsu.
Okay.
For Clint Eastwood, and specifically Unforgiven, I created Qigong.
Oh.
So
nice. Love it. Love it.
Of our subject tonight, I just finished copy editing at the invitation of the author, Brady Hendrix's new book on kung fu, on martial art movies. It's not kung fu films. He did the documentary for Netflix, Iron Fist and Kung Fuckix.
Nice.
And I'm a talking head in that. But he's done a book
now,
and he asked me to proofread it. And I just finished that today, and there was a lot about the subject we're talking about tonight.
Oh, nice.
So that's what I'm doing later.
That sounds awesome.
Now, Rick, I have a quick question.
Oh, go ahead.
Where would you put equilibrium then? What type of fu is equilibrium?
Equilibrium is clearly gun fu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not really. And the distinction I always make is it's the gunman's or gunwoman's relationship with the gun that distinguishes it between. If it's more violent and just let's cause damage, it's gunjitsu, because that's martial arts. It's just fighting.
Right.
The way I distinguish it is that if you can see fear and or power on the face of the actor, that's gun fu.
All right.
That's it.
Okay. Nice.
So, Tony, when we did our hard target review the other day and I mentioned that word, now you know where I got it from.
Yeah.
Great word. Speaking of...
That's why I don't think I may have been the first one. I defy anybody to have been alive at the time of A Better Tomorrow and not see that movie and instantly think gun fu. Can't
right.
It's gun
right.
fu.
Yeah. It's classic. The John Woo classic Bullet Ballet. Well, since you're talking about books, segue. Oh, what is this? Oh, what is this?
I like that one.
This is a good one, right? Yeah.
It's all right.
It's okay. Yeah.
My favorite thing about that book is that the picture of Michelle Yeoh on the cover wasn't originally Michelle Yeoh. Can you guess who it was? And I said, no way. I will not allow the book with that title to go out with that picture on the cover.
Who is it supposed to be?
Again, I said, this book is called Great Martial Art Movies. You can't put the picture of this guy on the cover.
Steven Seagal?
So go ahead, gentlemen. Yeah.
Chuck? Huh? Chuck Norris?
No, I like Chuck.
Yeah.
And great martial arts, and he's made some great ones, but there's one person who's never made a great martial art movie. He's made good ones.
And he's on the cover.
He was on the cover.
Oh, he was. Oh,
I
okay.
don't want to
Don the
say
Dragon
Based on
Wilson.
Michelle Yeoh.
Oh, wow.
He showed me the design of the cover. That little square had another person's face in it.
Oh, really? Can you tell us, or that we got to keep that
Well, I
on
can
the?
tell you, but I'd rather have you guess. We got time, right?
I don't know. So it's Michelle Yeoh. It's Michelle Yeoh here from Wing Chun.
Right.
Okay.
She was the last minute replacement for the person who was originally on the cover, who I said, I won't let the book be published with that person's picture on
I
the
hope
cover.
I'm wrong, but is it Van Damme?
Yes, it is.
I figured it was going to be that. I figured. It was a toss-up between Seagal one of those two.
Great movie.
That's it. Tony's gone. That's his guy. He's gone. That's his guy.
I like Seagal. Oh, you love Van Damme?
That's his guy. Yeah, that's his boy. He's gone. It's all right, Tony. It's all right.
Maybe on or off screen. Let me tell you stories because I've met John times.
Okay. I don't know. Tony may not want to. Tony may not want to hear it. He's like, I still have a fond memory of Jean. I don't want to, I don't want to hear it. But that's hilarious. Oh, that's really funny. Still, this is my introduction to you, Rick.
Oh, well,
And I wanted to share this. This is a fantastic book. Great martial arts movies from Bruce Lee to Jackie Chan and more. Chat. I highly recommend. Movie Dojo Army to check out this book. This is my introduction to Rick, and then a lot of DVD commentaries, the martial arts theater commentaries. I was like, this guy's great. So
this is still my favorite.
nice. I'm gonna have to upgrade. I'm gonna have to get that.
Yeah, because the other book, the book you have is about martial art movies, so it's got Japanese, it's got ninja, it's got samurai. This
Yeah,
is just kung fu.
that's awesome. I got to get it.
Ooh.
Oh, Kyle's on it, boy. Look at that. Kyle is on it.
That's the drawing that DreamWorks sent me.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
I love that.
Nice.
Yeah, right.
All right. No more fanboying. Let's get to it. Oh, look, it's already started. Look at this. It's already started. I hate Bruce Lee. I don't know why. Super incredibly overrated, right? Okay, here we go. Let's see.
I mean, Brad Pitt kicked his ass, so.
It's already started. Tony, you got it. You got to support her, Tony.
Thank you.
You
Thank
got
you.
it.
We're friends with Tony and with the other guy.
Yeah. Look at those. So this is where the versus starts. This is where it gets fun. So you got one guy, he hates Bruce Lee, he's overrated. Bam. Very next comment. Boom. Bruce Lee all day, bro. So this is fun. This is going to be great. So let's go ahead and get into versus. Let's get it started. Let's get it cracking. All right, let's get it going here. So first up, we're going to talk about 1972's Fist of Fury. Give me like 1 second. I got to bring this up. Hold on 1 second.
I want to let everybody know that in addition to my terrible opinions about wonderful people, I will be doing a fashion show here today.
Oh,
Every
I
time
like that shirt.
have a different color. Well, this is shirt one, and it's also got Once Upon a Time in China on this sleeve.
Nice.
It's got Legendary Weapons of China on this sleeve.
Wow.
And on the back, it's got Hero.
oh man, that is an awesome shirt.
This is my first shirt.
Oh,
Where the
I
hell
love
did you get that? Where's that?
Terry Huddleston. Look up terryhuddlestonart.com.
Terry Huddleston. Okay.
Great artist. I
Yeah.
designed it. He made it for me.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Well, we got four more. We have four more shirts to go. How long does this show usually run?
as long as you want, Rick.
All right.
As long as you want.
Let's break it up.
All right. Let's go ahead and get this going. Fist of Fury was directed by Wei Lo.
No, it wasn't.
That's right. I know, right? We'll get into that. Starring some guy named Bruce Lee. I don't know if you guys heard of him. That's right. He plays Chen Zhen. Go ahead, Rick.
It's not his name. I mean, his real name was different.
Yeah.
Chinese.
James Tien. Poor James Tien. Did he die? Did James Tien die in like every Bruce Lee movie?
No,
Seems-
only one.
Okay,
He was going to die in Game of Death until Golden Harvest shit canned him.
right, but he died in this movie too.
He died.
I thought, and the big boss.
He dies in Big Boss. In this one.
Actually, I think he survives. Like,
I think-
Really?
No, he died. He died.
Because at the very end, he's like crawling, and he goes, "Sister," and then he falls over.
Oh yeah,
But,
yeah.
He was taking a nap.
He's taking a nap. All right. Since that plot synopsis on IMDb is garbage as usual, Kyle, give us a brief plot synopsis of Fist of Fury, my friend.
Okay, so after the death of martial arts master Hyo Won-ja, Chen Zhen returns back to the school and finds that his master is killed in a match. So, man, I am drawing a blank now because it's like
Rick, take over. Rick, take over.
You're better at this than I am.
Well, Chen Zhen has been trying to control his temper. His master has been helping him doing that, and now with the master gone, he just literally goes nuts. He jumps onto the coffin, starts tearing the ground, rending his hair, and goes on a trail of vengeance.
Yes.
And has a lot of vengeance to go on the trail of.
Yes. A lot. A lot.
The park in town, and in the park in town, it has a little sign. He's not allowed to enter the park, and the sign says, "No dogs or Chinese allowed."
Yep.
And that was the gun fu moment for Bruce Lee in Hong Kong. When he breaks that sign, that whole country. That's what was so amazing. I wish I had seen that movie in Hong Kong.
Woo, man.
Changed.
Yep. Changed cinema.
And cinema didn't change again until A Better Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
In any case, so then he goes on the trail of vengeance. He's like lone wolf without cub.
Yep.
And he just starts going to everybody and not taking yes for an answer.
Mm-hmm.
He just starts. He doesn't even take names. Yes.
No, you're fucked. You're getting fucked up.
But in addition to that, this is one of the reasons that I believe that Lo Wai did direct it, because this movie is nothing like Lo Wai has ever directed. Bruce Lee also puts in these wonderful moments of comedy and character changes, the way he would infiltrate by playing a meek telephone repair. This really was revolutionary for Hong Kong cinema at that time. And it's just basically one awesome battle scene, one awesome revelation after another. When he finds out that and he knew this. He knew his master didn't die in the fight. His master was murdered.
Yep.
And, and that discovery and the moves the villains make at that point. You look at the villain in this movie compared to the villain in The Big Boss, and it's the difference between a cardboard cutout and a three-dimensional person.
Yeah.
And so, and again, the fighting was so revolutionary, and of course, knowing that Jackie Chan was the stuntman in the last scene,
in the last shot,
and again, Bruce bringing in Guilo. You know the word Guilo, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My name in Hong Kong was Mo Guilo, which means hairy foreign devil.
Yep. There you go.
He brings in the Russian.
Yeah.
Lo Wai would never have done. And and Bruce had to fight for all of this. He had to fight behind the camera. He had to fight in front of the camera, and he was a master at both. And so by the time the ending comes, and then he does the thing that he pretty much knew. He knew the Hong Kong people better than they knew themselves. Everybody wanted him to survive.
Right.
The filmmakers, the producers, the studio, everyone except him. And he said, "No, I'm going to do what it should have happened then. I'm going to martyr him."
Yep.
Of course, again, the Hong Kong people just fell about. They couldn't comprehend the mind-blowingness of this movie.
Yes.
That's the plot line. Not my
well, thank you, Rick.
No opinion. This was all fact.
Yeah. Thanks for breaking it down because IMDb just says a guy goes for revenge. That's it. I'm like, good job, IMDb. Yay, you suck. Anyway.
Carrying all the Chinese people on his back.
Yeah. Was it also kind of like, you talk about breakthrough moments, the romantic part, especially showing the martial arts kung fu master basically, or student of the master, kind of making out. Was that like a big deal too?
For Bruce.
Yeah.
Because in America, of course, all Asians, especially at that time, are sexless.
Yes.
Right.
To kiss, they're not allowed to do anything.
Right.
And so that was super important to him.
Right.
And Rick, would you say that like nowadays, like that whole allegory between the Chinese and Japanese, even though that was historically correct, this also resonated with the North American audience, mostly the black audience, because it was like that ideal of racism was actually happening. So that was a representation of North American racism towards every race.
One thing, I teach Kung Fu, and one of the main things I teach is that Kung Fu, as I say in Films of Fury, we define it as human achievement.
Yes.
But to me, all Kung Fu and all martial arts is the same. The human body, the human mind, the world around it, the rest is an ego. So it makes perfect sense that virtually every great movie you see will resonate with humans throughout history because we're all human.
Yeah.
So there's Chinese. When I was in the elevator at Ocean Shores Video, we were going down to have a big dim sum lunch at the huge restaurant next door. And the staff members who were all Chinese in the elevator while we were going down 19 floors told me, because I said, isn't it much better in Hong Kong because you're all Asian so you don't hate each other? And they went, oh, stupid American.
Wow.
They told me who hated who in Asia. And I can't remember the breakdown of it, but I'll always remember the last line as they came down to the first floor and the door was about to open. But it took 19 flights for them to talk about who hated who in Asia. But at the first floor, they all hated Vietnamese, and everybody hated the Vietnamese.
Oh, shit. Wow.
Vietnamese.
Wow.
This was 1970. This was like the early 80s. It's changed.
Okay.
And of course, Hong Kong and now China taking over. There are different regions who hate each other. I mean, different dialects hate each other.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's like humans, stupid humans, sad humans, weak humans need to hate. People who can't control themselves seek to control others.
Right.
And so, and also, another thing Kung Fu taught is that all hatred is self-hatred directed out. So,
yeah, copy that. We're getting the lesson today.
Yes,
we're getting the lesson today. You chat Movie Dojo Army. You gonna learn today. Oh no, this is great. We're all learning. This is interesting. Plus, you're giving us the background and backstory and of the movie. Also, this is very insightful. But let's leave Rick last for fun. So what we'll do is we'll start with Master Chaos. We'll go all the way around and we'll end with Rick. We'll talk about the positives and negatives. If you have any negatives on the movie, and be completely honest. Be completely honest. Now, you know what's funny? When I put these two movies together, there were people that were like, well, why isn't Fearless in there? It's because Fearless is a prequel. Fearless is based off of the teacher of Shenzhen.
Yes.
Fearless is a prequel. Well, Fearless is better than... It's a prequel. We're talking about the same story. And then you had other people go, well, why isn't Donnie Yen's Legend of the Fist in there? Why isn't Legend of the Fist? And I was like, that's a sequel. That's a sequel that we don't talk about. Yeah. We will, maybe.
The opening 5 minutes of that movie is like a documentary, basically.
Pretty much. All right. We'll start with Chaos. Thoughts on Fist of Fury, and we'll go all the way around, and we'll end with Rick.
Fist of Fury was my second introduction, I guess, not second introduction, but my second Bruce Lee film ever. Obviously, for like most people, Enter the Dragon is that first one.
Yeah.
That first sweet taste of Kung Fu. And then my dad said, oh, here's another one. And we saw Fist of Fury. It's actually the film that got me into kung fu, and
Nice.
it is because of films like this. I think it's a lean and mean, muscular machine. That's all it is. You know, there's a little bit of story, but there's enough for you to say, okay, his master was taken out. He's the only one. You know, he's got to be right. He's not a maniac. I mean, he's acting like a maniac, but he's got to be right. You know, something dirty's going down. We find out something dirty is going down, and he's the only one who's got the balls to literally go into the bad guy's house and kick everybody. So, and spin the guys around like
the dummies.
I love that.
Yes. Oh, that was great.
That's the best. Even then, I'm like, all right, I'll let it go. That's fine. But I think it's one of the most perfect kung fu movies ever made. I mean, I think it encapsulates what it is. And when you talk about Bruce Lee as the dragon, you see him, holy shit, that's like a human dragon. Like, that guy's going to town, and he is unstoppable. And that ending, spoilers,
yes,
for anybody who hasn't seen it, that ending is so powerful.
Yes.
And so shocking that I'm like, I honestly, I don't think he died. After the credits, he just landed and walked off. Holy shit.
He ate the bullets.
Yeah,
he ate the bullets.
He kicked them all in the air real fast. And by the way, that angle, he's walking towards the cops. He jumps up. All the innocent people are behind him. They're gonna get shot too. Those guys are fucked. You know, they're not safe. They're not in a safe area. He jumped out of the way, and they all got shot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a great movie. I honestly have no negatives. I think it's as long as it needs to be. I think we have enough of the bad guy that we know to not like him, but we appreciate where he's coming from. You know, as you know, the Japanese and the Chinese, all that conflict. We get all that. I love when he turns into Fletch, you know, or actual Foley, and he's like wearing the costumes. I think that's so funny and so unique. And again, that's what makes it different from all the other guys just jumping around, you know, throwing fists. I think it's a great movie. I honestly have no negatives. That's my thoughts on Fist.
Awesome. Is that true, Rick, that Bruce was a fan of Jerry Lewis? That was like one of his favorite comedians. Maybe that's what kind of influenced him to do the different outfits and characters.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting because, of course, Jackie Chan is a huge fan of Buster Keaton.
Yeah.
Right.
We were inspired, again, showing the universality of the human condition. So everybody responds to whatever is great, no matter what country it comes from.
Right,
so,
right.
Absolutely.
Also, Rick, I don't know if this is confirmed. Kyle, I don't know if you know this as well, but I heard that a lot of the over-the-top fantastical stuff, which is what the Hong Kong audience really enjoys, like people jumping off trampolines and stuff, you know, the crazy stuff. Bruce wasn't really into that, but he kind of like, all right, they're letting me kind of fight choreography. You do the fight choreography for most of my scenes, but I'll kind of show face, you know, I'll show face to them, and I'll pick up the dummies and spin them around and throw them. But other than that, though, the rest of the fight scene is mine. Is that true? Like, I heard about the big boss part, but every time they did the trampoline scenes and all that, Bruce was like, I don't like this, but I'll do it, you know, to kind of appease, you know, some people. Like, he punches the guy through the wall, and you see the cartoon outline of the guy. Like, he wasn't fans of that, but he did it. He kind of was trying to have a balance, right? Let me do my thing, but I'll you know, okay, you want me to throw a dummy? I'll throw a dummy. I don't know if you heard that. Is that confirmed? Okay.
Yes. I mean, in other words, he turned the other cheek in Big Balls.
Yes.
Right.
He wasn't going to be turning much of a cheek for Fist of Fury.
Yes.
Right.
He had the people behind it. And this is often true. Producers always say, well, the audience loves this. And my reply is always, no, the audience is used to that.
Yes.
They don't love it.
Right.
You're giving it to them because you want to have the power. You don't know what they actually think. One thing I can tell you from writing all the books I have about film, not just about martial art movies, but all genres of film, is that the audience loves whatever's great.
Right.
You know, you say, oh, comedies are out until a great comedy comes out, and then all suddenly comedies are in.
Yeah.
Because whatever's great, the human mind will respond. The human mind wants to be fed good stuff. You feed it shit, it'll sit there and take it until you give it really good, and then the human mind will go, oh, thank you. So what
Copy
happens,
that.
That's like the Matrix. When the Matrix came out, everything was the Matrix. Everybody, or Pulp Fiction. You know, people say, "Oh, now I like this," and that's what influences. Yeah.
Copy
what
that.
happened in terms of the fights, the dummies, even though he had ultimately had total control, Lo-Wai had to have the name, but pretty much, I mean, I've been told that Lo-Wai had to sit where Bruce couldn't see him.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he
all
had no
right.
control. Because Bruce couldn't get him off the set, but he could get him out of his eyesight.
And
Gotcha.
And the thing he did with one of the things that we felt, and this is a group of friends of mine, science fiction writers and others, is that Bruce Lee essentially committed suicide in his quest to become the Chinese Superman.
yes.
He kept on saying that he wanted to be the Chinese Superman without acknowledging that you could be, look, Bruce, I believe Bruce would have become Jet Li. I believe Bruce would have learned that you need to be a supra-man, as great as a human can be, but you can't be a Superman. And he paid the price for trying by dying as young as he did. So when I saw those dummies, I didn't think they forced him to do it. He says, I don't have time to do this as well as, we don't have the special effects. We can't put on wires.
Yeah.
So I'll just do the dummy thing. And hopefully we're getting it. But he wanted to be Chinese Superman.
Gotcha.
Pure Superman movie.
And,
All right.
and this was when they were trying to break out of the Shaw Brothers type of choreography at the time, and that's when Bruce Lee came about, and actually, so that's what they were really breaking away from at that time, because Shaw Brothers styles and their filming style was always wide angle lenses and just the choreography and musical.
King Hu was King Hu. Come drink with me.
Right.
Yeah, touch of Zen, and he called it Kung Fu dancing. And Bruce didn't want, what did the karate guy say? Give me karate fighters, not karate dancers.
Yeah.
And right.
Kung Fu fighters, not Kung Fu. But Bruce also broke that mold with the fight in the factory in Big Boss. Not the final fight, but the fight in the factory with the axe.
Yes.
The guy through the wall. Another Superman move, by the way. The guy through the wall.
Okay.
But they tried to make him fight Shaw Brothers style, and he said no. And he got the nickname Three Kick Bruce.
Yes.
Ah, yeah, I heard that. Yes.
And everybody's no, you got to kick everybody's stuff.
Didn't the original action director for The Big Boss, didn't he run to Raymond Chow? He's like, I can't work with this guy.
Yeah.
He only knows 3 kicks.
Wow.
Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah, and Raymond Chow had to come down to Thailand or over to Thailand.
Yeah.
And then when Bruce showed him what he wanted,
Right.
do Bruce.
Yeah. Do your thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Man, getting the knowledge. This is awesome. Chaos? All right.
Yeah.
All right, so
you
all good?
I'm so honored to have Rick here. This is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
This is fantastic. Okay.
That's it. All right. Eric, Fist of Fury, positives and negatives. Let's do it. What we got?
Yes. So I basically agree with Master Chaos. I think the plot, social commentary, that type of stuff is enough to bridge the action scenes. But if you want to talk about wide shots in a fight scene, how about the one near the 20-minute mark, the one versus many fight?
Yeah.
And the camera's so far back,
I love it.
You can't miss anything that's happening. And he just rolls through a bunch of dudes, no edits, no change in camera work.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
No.
So that's what I rewatching this first time on Blu-ray. I watched this actually, because I've always seen it on either DVD or low quality TV, back in the day, and that was pretty impressive for me watching it again. And then you get a few good other fights peppered in, right throughout the middle section. And then you get to basically the series of finales down the stretch, right? And the one thing I like about Bruce's character in this is he just straight up kills people in this movie. He just straight up and then he'll hang them for everyone to see. This is no nonsense stuff in this play. So we get to the final series of fights. You get a rematch with the martial arts master, who I thought, he's able to give Bruce a little bit of trouble, but not that much of a challenge. Bruce is really like clipping through a lot of these dudes, but it's still fun to watch.
Yeah.
And then you get the dude with the mustache. That was a pretty good fight. He got some licks in. I like the different. I always like seeing guys with completely different fighting styles fight in martial arts films. It's very interesting to watch. And that was a solid fight to kind of mix it up. Yeah. And then the trick with the sword was pretty sweet, man. That was pretty cool. Yeah. That's like a classic moment.
Yeah.
And then the final one, I mean, you get a nunchaku versus sword fight. I mean, that's in and of itself, the use of those two weapons just makes it kind of special and unique in how they choreographed it and how it went down. So in terms of the fights in this, I really did enjoy them. I just think, people nowadays, they might not connect as much with the I don't know, the characters, I guess, so to speak. But I think this one still delivers and it holds up. So I liked it.
Nice. Were there any negatives or anything you would have tweaked?
Well, I think maybe some of the side characters could have been beefed up a little bit. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe a little bit more multidimensionality. That would be probably my main criticism. But yeah, I think there's not a whole lot you can really pick apart with this one. I don't think.
Right. Copy that. All right, so far so good, positive here. So kind of what Eric kind of mentioned there a little bit about how today's audience might have issues with this movie, or today's audience might have an issue with maybe a little bit of the fight choreography or something like that, that's kind of going in through my head, thinking what I said earlier on, maybe I'm thinking the other movie might be a clean sweep, but we'll find out when we get to the voting thing. We'll find out. Because got to be honest here. Uh-oh. Say hi to Rick. Oh. This is my wife. Lady Fatblood, say hi.
Hi.
There you go.
Sorry, everybody.
The legend.
Oh, my God.
The legend.
Hi, everybody.
He's here. All right. So my sister, believe it or not, my oldest sister, Tracy, she was the one, and my dad, were the ones that kind of got me into martial arts films. And she was the one to really introduce me to Bruce Lee, though. And she loved martial arts flicks. So Fist of Fury, or Chinese Connection at the time, I had the old Fox VHS tapes, man. The old school, pan and scan, English dubbed, brand new soundtrack, back in the old days, right? It's the only way you can watch it, right? I was completely blown away by Chinese Connection, a.k.a. Fist of Fury. I just, there's something about it. It's just so iconic. There's just so many iconic scenes that happen in this movie. Visually it's a treat. There's things images you can't forget or get out of your head. And like Eric was saying, like this 8 kick one take fight scene right here. Look at this. Who the fuck was doing that at the time? Ain't nobody was doing this at the time. Rick, help me out here, confirm this. Was this the first time a Chinese used nunchakus in a martial arts film? Because that was considered a Japanese weapon, right?
To my knowledge, yes, it is the first time. And the hilarious thing about it, and the little in-joke that Bruce had, is that he wanted to use the least effective weapon.
Right.
He could find.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
To show his mastery.
Wow.
Because the nunchaku is a joke. I mean, in Way of the Dragon, he shows the way it usually goes with a nunchaku, which is you hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the weapon, the legendary weapon of China,
right.
That is the most respected is the bow, the pole,
right,
and the spear, which is like considered a bow, a pole, and a knife attached to it.
Right.
And interestingly enough, for all you guys, especially you, the filmmaker, the greatest legendary weapon of China has never been used in a movie ever. It is a stunningly savage and effective classical weapon. There's no way I'm going to ask you to guess what it is because you've never heard of it. It's the bent spear. Bent spear.
I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah, good luck finding it.
Chinese bent spear.
That is bent like a C.
Interesting.
What makes it so devastatingly powerful. And that's why Bruce didn't use that, because he didn't want to show off. You have it?
Like that?
Nope, not like that.
Okay.
That's what comes up on Google.
Long curve. Well, let's call it not the bent spear, it's the curved spear.
Okay.
Because
wow.
The curved spear is if I'm holding it like this, the blade is up at your face. But if you go to defend yourself, all I have to do is this. And suddenly the blade is at your crotch.
Wow.
And then if you go in and out with it, if you bring it, you make it shorter, you make it longer. There's virtually no way to defend against it.
Wow.
I've never been in a movie because it's so silly looking. But so is the nunchaku. The nunchaku is a show-off weapon, and Bruce knew how to show off.
Right.
I'll stop talking now because I want to talk about Bruce when it's my turn.
Yeah. But I just wanted to confirm that because I heard that he basically learned it he learned the basic movements very fast too. But we'll let you get into that. But yeah, I was like, man, again breaking ground here.
Oh yeah.
First time ever being used in a Hong Kong film by a Chinese actor. I mean, this is pretty, and he's pretty natural at it. And that's pretty hilarious if that is I'm sure it's confirmed because you said it, that it was kind of like the least effective weapon. That's why I used it on purpose. But only Bruce Lee can make it iconic.
Yeah. At the time, let me just quickly stick this in again because we just shot. At the time when he pulled it out, the audience laughed. Within seconds, they stopped laughing.
Nice.
Started using it.
Nice.
They said, "Oh, that piece of shit," and then, boom, Bruce.
Oh, that is hilarious. That is brilliant.
Everybody go.
Wow. Oh, we got a super chat here. Trey Doe, thanks for the donation. Thanks for supporting the channel. He goes, Fist of Fury for the win. Bruce Lee's favorite burger. Wapa.
I like that.
Oh, man. Wow, that is amazing. Rick just blew my mind right now. Wow. Okay, so back to this. But yeah, I was like, holy shit, nunchucks.
Yeah.
This is insane. Kicks, punches, dummies flying around. Like, this is like insane. I always cracked up when he said, fuck it, I'm going to just use the nunchucks to beat up your feet now. I'm just going to fuck up everybody's feet. I always laughed at that part. He's like they're not even close to being at the top of his level. He's like, I'm just going to fuck your feet up for now at the end of the fight.
The feet have more pain receptors than virtually any other part of the body.
Yep, there you go. Oh, Bruce. Yeah, but yeah, like Eric was saying, straight up fucking killer. He's a fucking maniac. I love it. With some clever editing, Master Chaos, you could probably turn Fist of Fury into a horror movie if you wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, color timing and the music, sure.
Yeah. But it had such a dark tone, but it's like even though he's a maniac, you kind of sympathize with him. You're kind of on his side because the bad guys were up to no good.
Yeah.
Even when he's out of control, you're like you can't stop watching because you're like I got to see how this plays out, and it was just brilliant. Like Eric saying, the guy with the sword, he kicked the guy, knocked the sword up in the air, grabbed his head, pulled it down, sword came down, stabbed him. I mean, this is like iconic, brilliant stuff. You don't forget these things when you watch it for the first time.
Right.
And this is 1972. This is insane.
Yeah.
And speaking of being ahead of its time, look at all the fighting everybody else did in the movie, and then you look at Bruce Lee's fight scenes by himself.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's like night and day, like Rick was saying. And look at this. Here's a little clip right here. Look at this right here. Who, around this time in a martial arts kung fu movie, was basically bouncing around like a boxer? Look at this shit. Look at this. Look at jab. Look at this. Look at this. Bah, bah, bah. Look at his eyes. He didn't even know he got hit. He was like, did I just get hit? Like, what the fuck? Look at this. No, nobody was moving like this, man. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. This is amazing.
Right. Yeah.
Doing a little boxer and Ali shuffle that he does later in Way of the Dragon. I mean, nobody was doing this stuff, man. Just straight up. And I love the camera work where Bruce would attack towards the viewer. Yeah. You know, it's almost like you had a first-person view perspective of him punching and slipping and all that. I mean, nobody was doing back then in a traditional kung fu martial arts flick. Mm-hmm. You know, way ahead of its time. And is this Jackie Chan right here, or was Jackie Chan in the shot, Rick, where he flies out?
I don't know if he's here. He's certainly the guy who goes across the garden. Okay.
Oh. He gets yanked by the cable, right? So Tony, I don't know if you knew that. So when you get after this scene where he kicks the villain through the wall, and the villain flies out like that, like 30 feet, that's Jackie Chan. Early Jackie Chan stunt work there. But yeah, it's too badass. Me personally, this is my favorite Bruce Lee movie out of all his work. It's just my personal favorite. I love Into the Dragon. I love Way of the Dragon. He fights Chuck Norris, for Christ's sake. But this is just when I think of Bruce Lee, I go straight to Fist of Fury. This is what I think of. Yeah. You know, and there's lots to talk about. I could talk about this movie all day, but I got to give the rest of you badasses a chance to talk. And 40 people hanging out with us already. All right. Thanks for watching and liking the video, hanging out. Movie Dojo Army. That's right. Now we're going to get to Tony. First time seeing this movie. So this is going to be interesting. And be honest. Yeah. Be honest. Say it sucks and Van Damme's better than Bruce Lee, Tony. Like, be honest here. You know? Hey. No, it's good. Go ahead, Tony.
I want to know, why in the hell am I on this panel? Like, I am the least qualified person to talk about this movie.
But you love movies. You love movies, and you love martial arts movies, so it's all good.
Yeah, that's true. I do. I'm warming up. I'm not that warming up. I'm seeing a lot more now.
Yeah.
But it was fast enough for me, you know, since the raid really put it up there for me with the fastness of fighting. Of course, first time seeing this, I wasn't really prepared for the whole undercover outfits and that he wore, especially like the old man giving out the newspaper and that was like great. You know, I was like, I love to see that little like comedy side to it. I always felt like watching like even if I saw like a clip of him getting like kicking somebody, it's like it looks like it just hurts. Like one hit from him, and it's like you're done for. And especially in this, like where he kills people, not even with a weapon or anything. It's just like kick them so friggin' hard or punch them so hard. It's just like their blood starts coming out, and they're done for. It's crazy. But I like the flow of the story in this one. You know, I like that it wasn't kind of jumping all around. I understand why he was like so angry, and then like display them in the street and everything. Everybody's like, who is it? Unfortunately, I had to watch this by other means, and I didn't have it was overdubbed, so I had the American voices, which were atrocious, but sometimes comical, but it's just a little ridiculous, you know. But and I definitely prefer not to have to do that, but I was forced to. And but yeah, I liked seeing familiar faces, because the only other movie I've ever seen is The Big Boss, and I seen like familiar faces, like the guy who said like sister. I was like, I liked him in that other movie.
Yeah.
You know? And he dies, and then like it wasn't the girl in it. And then the chubbier guy was in there too.
Yeah, the comedian.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, I like them in Big Boss Man. I know, or it was just cool to see familiar faces. I should have said familiar faces. I seen one other fucking movie, but yeah, it was a good movie, good flow, good story. The shocking twist of who gave the poison and stuff like that. You know, I felt like the guy who I think, if we don't have a picture of him, but I think he looks like Young Potato. from Big Gorgeous, the guy that put the nails through the board. I think he looks like young Potato with a mustache and like a afro. And anybody in the chat who knows Young Potato is, I'll send you a picture or something. But I thought his fight could have been better because this guy's like getting boards and stuff broken over him. He's jabbing nails through a board, and then he just was kind of weak. So I guess that's like a negative I have in the movie. And the main villain, the main fight at the end was like all the fights were great. It's just you could totally tell that Bruce had the up. Like he was just like there was no doubt in my mind he was going to lose, or like he didn't really like put up he wasn't sweating it out a little. While in Fist of Legend, it was like well even matched.
Right.
So, but there's negatives about that I could say later too. But all in all, yeah, I enjoyed the movie, and I had that Criterion box set I actually bought it, and then I thought, wow, I just spent $81. Shannon's gonna kill me.
Oh, you bought it?
I bought it and I canceled it.
Oh. Boo! Everybody, boo! Boo!
I'm sorry. Do you have sex with me?
Oh my god!
You got to prioritize, man.
That's true. Hey, I don't blame you. We'll take the booze back. That was hilarious, though. Oh man. Hey, for watching it for the first time, especially after watching The Raid, and yet you still can appreciate the movie and you liked it. Yeah. That's still pretty impressive. Yeah. Rick, I actually expected Tony to kind of just like, oh, what is this? Like, Preston, Phat Samurai Guy, why did you he's throwing dummies. What do you have me watch, man? Like, dude, you recommend The Raid, and I watched The Raid, and now you're going to have me watch this? So I'm actually surprised that he liked it, and he was positive about it. So, cool. All right. Kyle! Fist of Fury.
Like, I definitely remember watching it for the first time on VHS, and this was with the dub, and then as I got older, like, it was good that I grew up with a Chinese hero to look up to, especially a Chinese actor and martial artist on camera that I could actually look up to. And then when I got older and started getting like this DVD or this Blu-ray and the DVD versions, and finally seeing everything like the actual social commentary behind it, I was like, oh yeah, this does hit deeper now, especially in this day and age, what's happening now. And I'm not getting into that, but the truth is, like, really rewatching it, and there is a lot of rewatchability in this film because, like, it does show that distinct difference from what Bruce Lee started with The Big Boss of, like, yeah, you gotta do it this way, you gotta do it this way, but now you could see his creative control actually showing off what he could do as an actor. And the way that it does play out, too, like, what was interesting, even though it was a revenge flick, you can also see it as like a detective story because he's literally slowly piecing together everything. Like, okay, the chef was in on it. How did they do it? And then gives it to his senior brother. Like, these were the cookies. And then he started seeing like who actually okayed this. And it's like, oh, the translator. You talk to these guys. I'm gonna kill you too. And then next thing you know, like builds up to that point of he finally says, okay, I got all the evidence. The police aren't doing anything. I'm gonna just destroy this school like they destroyed mine. And there was like the memorable moments of when he was standing there when they were all mourning, and the Japanese school comes in with that sign saying "Sixth Man of Asia," and everyone's just like, "What does this mean?" And I'm like, dude, nowadays how that really resonates now. I'm like, ugh. But when he goes to the school and beats the whole school up, and he just tells them, get over here. He tells those two guys, you guys said you're going to eat this, and he forces them to eat it. And I was like, great. I was like, that is just beautiful. And actually, I don't know if this is correct, but Rick, would you agree that dojo scene is like literally the start of every other dojo scene, that basically you fight all the students and then you go to the floor and then continue on fighting them, because it's like almost like a formulaic kind of fight scene in itself that resonates on every other martial arts film that comes about. Would you say that?
I wouldn't say that because I haven't checked them all, but I can say that Bruce was wildly influential, and that he is to this day, he's the only martial art movie maker, kung fu student, and teacher who is iconic.
Yes.
He stands the test of time. I mean, you name John Wayne.
Yes.
Other James Bond, Bruce Lee.
Yep.
And basically, I'm happy, Tony, that you reacted the way you did, but I'm not surprised because one of the things I will be talking about is Bruce's energy. All kung fu is powered by your internal energy, what's known as chi, or the force, until George Lucas changed it. And there's, even through film, even through the passage of time, when somebody has the kind of energy Bruce Lee has, it connects.
Yes.
So, yeah, there you go.
Nice.
So, yeah, and he influences it because, and also the reason that it was such a travesty after he died, and they treated him so badly. Everything they did to Bruce after he died was revenge on Bruce for making them feel the way he made them feel. The filmmakers specifically, the producers, the studios. The people loved him. But the studio, basically Game of Death, as far as I'm concerned, is Raymond Wong's revenge on Bruce. He had 100 minutes to work with. He took out 10 and made them shit. So in any case, yeah.
You mean like, for example, movies like Bruce Lee and I?
Well, everything.
The Bruceploitation films and stuff like that, or
that's what Grady was writing about in his book that I was finished proofreading today. He lists every single Bruceploitation, every single, and by the end of it, I was like, stop it, stop.
Stop it! He's already dead.
At least he came at it in the right way. He didn't say this was good. He said this was essentially evil.
Yeah.
Right.
This was taking revenge on somebody who made them feel something.
Wow. Yep. Kyle, was there any negatives? Anything you would have changed or tweaked?
So far, like, all the positive is like, yes, we got Bruce Lee as a hero, and then the negatives is slightly the fact that Bruce Lee was like known as that Superman that cannot be stopped, and that it was like that end all be all of like no one could stop him. And I was like, okay, I could see that, but that also created all these other people, like audience members, that think they know his philosophy or anything else. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. They just misread some of his philosophy and what he wanted to represent in his films, and mostly that's the slight negative. Other than that, like, the film still holds up to this day, and I cannot like talk bad about it.
Oh, we're getting another shirt change. Which one's this one?
Young Master.
Oh, nice.
So the front is fine. The sleeves, we have the dragon on one sleeve and the phoenix on the other. As I explained to Raya and the Last Dragon and to the Mulan people, if you have a dragon, you need a phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly is the back of this one.
Okay. Oh, look at that.
Beautiful.
Right?
The shirts are amazing. Lou Diamond Phillips. He said, "Is that Lou Diamond Phillips?"
That's Jason Scott Lee.
So Rick, just really quick, just so you could be, because you're always welcome in the Movie Dojo Army and the family here. But just this is an inside joke. So anytime you come on again, you'll get the joke. But this quick story. Long time ago, when Iron Monkey was released here in the States, because of the popularity of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I've already seen Iron Monkey. Iron Monkey's old. Iron Monkey came out, 95 or 93 or something like that? Mm-hmm. So I already seen it. I don't know, VHS, but they released it in theater over here. So I went to go see it with my friend. Every time Donnie Yen came on screen, 5 dudes behind me, older guys behind me. Every time Donnie Yen was on screen, they would go, "Hey man, ain't that Lou Don Phillips?" Yeah, man, I didn't see Lou Don Phillips as Young Guns. Man, he still got the moves. Remember how he used to use that knife in Young Guns? He still got the moves. Me and my friend could not stop laughing hysterically throughout the entire movie. Every time Donnie Yen came on screen. Hey man, that's Lou Don. Oh man, oh yeah. So now that's the joke. So anytime if I post a Donnie Yen picture and I go, "Hey, Lou Don Phillips, best movie, Iron Monkey," it's a classic story. Yeah, but I had to share that with you because you're part of the family now. So, but Kyle, are you done? That was
good.
it. You wrapped it up, right?
Yeah.
All right, Rick. Positives and negatives on Fist of Fury.
By the way, was 1993.
Okay, I was close. All right,
And
cool.
Tony, if you want to see the best, in the back of my book, I have the 100 best kung fu films of all time.
Oh man.
So start with number 1 and go right on through.
Eric, I sense a future vid together, me and you. I'm going to get that book. We should go through the whole list. Feature video, Eric. Feature video. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to need to catch up on a few of those.
The last movie on the list is incorrect. I put the last one on the list before I had actually seen it because I was hoping it would be good.
Is that Bloodsport? Bloodsport, right?
No, Shaolin. But replaced Shaolin with Final Master. Final Master is on, I think.
I just said that for Tony. All right.
Anyway.
All right, Rick.
I'm older than all of you put together. So I saw this film in context. I mean, I've learned a lot all the time that people who watch movies now know, same way that, people who are reading my original books back in the 80s, they're going, well, this isn't nearly as good as the newer books. I'm going, yeah, because we only had a certain amount of information there. We didn't have computers. We didn't have, the phone. We didn't have Wikipedia. So be that as it may, I saw this movie back in the 70s.
Man.
And so I was able to, and also, since I was a cinemaphile, editor at Inside Kung Fu magazine, visitor of Hong Kong, I could see it from the Asian perspective. One of the things I kept correcting in Grady Hendrix's book was that he was saying, what did he say? Something changed the world. I say, no, it changed the Western world. It didn't change the world. The world had already been, the East had already caught up to it. I mean, they knew Bruce Lee 2 years before the rest of the world did. So, and also the new Bruce Lee, not the Green Hornet Bruce Lee, where he was contained. But even then, people could see the energy. So I was able to love Bruce, not just as the star of his movies, but as a performer, as a martial artist, and a filmmaker. I still worship at his feet as a teacher. I still use what he has said, not just in my Kung Fu life, but in my entire life, which is learn everything you can from everyone and everything you can, then make it your own. Which is the only person who has done that since him is Jackie Chan. He made himself the anti-Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
He said, I'm still going to do it. I'm going to make it me. And,
Thank God.
Yeah.
But instead, the rest of the world, Life of Brian to Bruce. In Life of Brian tells his followers, think for yourselves. They all went, we will think for ourselves.
Such a great movie.
Still doing them, and you can hear Bruce in purgatory or heaven or hell going, no, that's not what I said. Listen to what I taught. Make it your own, because basically Samurai would do Samurai Fu, Tony would do Tony Fu, Kyle would do Kyle Fu, I do Rick Fu, because we're completely different. And that way we're able to take what Bruce taught and make it his own. But nobody was Bruce. No one will ever be Bruce. And
Yeah.
you know, and
Preach
I
it.
got that, and I agree with you that Fist of Fury is still my favorite. To me, in my mind, it is the most pure Bruce Lee movie.
Yeah.
It was him more because he needs to fight. La Kal Young, my favorite kung fu filmmaker of all time,
Yes.
maker of 36 Chamber.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, there you go. There you go, Rick. 8 diagram pole fighter, son.
There you go. I have those shirts. If we do a versus with any of that, I'll wear all those shirts.
All right.
But he knew Bruce. He worked with Bruce. I talked to a lot. I never got to meet Bruce. I got to meet Linda. I got to meet Sharon. I got to meet Brandon and talk to them.
Oh.
But I never got to meet Bruce. He was dead 5 years before I started falling in love with kung fu movies through Drunken Master.
Right.
And so I mean I would have loved to have. I would have been able to, because I'm known in the my kung fu circles as the Anvil, and that means don't ask me a question if you don't want the answer. Delivered via Acme.
Got it.
Acme style. Boom.
Yeah.
If I would have said, "You're killing yourself, man. You're killing yourself," because I got all the stories about
Yeah.
Young
Yeah.
told me that the thing about Bruce
Yeah.
was that he loved to hurt. And what was fascinating about him, because if you look at Master Lau's movies, it's not about hurting. It's about not being hurt. It's about doing kung fu effectively and smartly, so you don't hurt yourself. The other person hurts themselves. But Bruce liked to give hurt and liked to get hurt. He would cry. He would feel pain. He would feel mostly internal pain because he wanted to be the Chinese Superman.
Right.
But the problem there is, I always teach that using the fist is the stupidest thing you can do, because no matter how well you use it, you'll hurt yourself. And you could see Bruce's sadomasochism. You could see him trying to punish himself. And that's what ultimately he did until he killed himself, by the way he lived, by losing all that weight, by pushing himself too hard, by trying to live up to a superhuman degree, which he couldn't. So that's what made this movie, for me, even more beautiful, even more amazing.
Nice.
Both in Big Boss and in this, he gave himself moments to mourn, moments to suffer, going crazy at the grave. He was a man who was. This movie is more Bruce than any other movie, because this is a movie where Bruce Lee gets himself killed.
Awesome.
And it creates this aura that is undefeatable.
Undefeatable.
Yes.
Yeah. Hold on one second, Rick. Hold that thought. I got a super chat here. Yasuke, thanks for the donation. Thanks for supporting the channel, brother. How's it going, Phat Samurai Guy and the panel? Would you consider doing a Jim Kelly stream? He has a few good films under his belt and is a legend in martial arts. I won't say no, but I won't say yes right now. We'll see.
Well,
so maybe.
I haven't done the research on this.
Okay.
But I may have been the last person to officially interview Jim Kelly before his death.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Whereas I have the picture here somewhere. Hold on. Oh, there it is. It was at. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Nice.
Well, if Rick wants to do it, we'll conversate after. We'll see.
I have some stories about James.
Okay. All right.
So we'll Grady Hendrix and other people in the books, but be that as it may, let us carry on. So is there anything else I want? Yeah, I respect him as a performer, as a filmmaker. As a filmmaker, I admire him enormously.
Yes.
And it just breaks my heart he accomplished all this in basically 3 years.
Yes.
One of my favorite articles was for a special, Inside Kung Fu did a special issue on Bruce Lee, and they asked me to write an article on what I think Bruce would have done had he lived.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And it still breaks my heart to think about what he would have accomplished had he lived. The world of cinema would have been completely and utterly changed. I
believe it.
What La Kal Young learned, he would have learned what Jet Li learned. He would have grown, and he was already so far ahead.
Yeah.
just boggles my
They
mind.
said he was a perfectionist on set.
Yeah, but he also was so much. One of the reasons I forgot who mentioned this, where they said, "Oh yeah, the flaw, where they could have gotten stronger." The problem is they couldn't have. There was nobody even close to Bruce at that time.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Right.
Even though a lot of people in real life say they could feed him, absolutely that's true, but not the power he brought as a filmmaker and as a performer. Nobody could come close.
No, I agree.
Yes.
Man, I just want to sit and listen for the rest of the.
Now, think about what Hong Kong.
On your podcast anyway, I can do the podcast with you if you want.
What's
Think
up?
about what
Yeah,
Hong
yeah.
Kong cinema did in the 80s and early 90s, and then imagine Bruce being a part of some of those movies.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's true, huh?
But Bruce would have made his own films.
Yeah.
There would have been.
Yeah.
He would have been the Spike Lee. He would have been the Tarantino of his time.
Yeah.
There would have been no mistaking a Bruce movie.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. All day I can listen to Rick. Storyteller from Kung Fu Santa's son.
What about instead of Rush Hour, we had Bruce Lee and Van Damme?
Dude, I would watch it, baby. I would watch that all night long.
Right?
Now remember, Bruce and Jackie were already friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
An interesting film.
I've known Jackie since 1978. He's told me all these stories that he hasn't told anybody else about his relationship with Bruce.
Yeah.
They were friends forever because Jackie invited him to go bowling on after that day on Enter the Dragon set. Mm-hmm. Nobody else would get near Bruce because they were all, intimidated by him.
Yeah.
And respected him and honored him so much. So, and Bruce looked at Jackie and sort of went, oh, we'll see. And so they all went bowling, and they're all bowling, and Jackie's up there about to bowl, and suddenly he hears it get very quiet behind him. And he turns around, and there's Bruce. And Bruce walks in, he sits down, he watches Jackie bowl. When Jackie's finished, he gets up and he leaves. And Jackie said it was almost literally like a comedy movie. He may have done some of this timing in one of his subsequent films, where there was a moment where nobody moved. After Bruce walks out, the door of the bowling alley closes. Nobody moved. And then everybody jumps on Jackie going, oh my God, how'd you get him? They all, you like Jackie Chan, it's your friend, Jackie. I mean, Bruce Lee is your friend, Bruce Lee is your friend. Now, could you imagine a movie with those two?
Yeah.
I could see it.
That would be amazing.
I can imagine that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bruce is Bruce, Jackie is Bruce.
Perfect. Gold. Yeah.
Great.
Jackie's doing his comedy thing. Bruce is like the total opposite, just kicking ass.
But knowing those guys, they trade because they're smart in terms of structure of fights. Mm-hmm. The lecture I did at Disney was called Kung Fu and the Art of Screen Action.
Yeah.
And I loved your comment about you love it when they learn. You love it when they train. They love it when you show the style. That was the art of Kung Fu action, which could involve the audience. So they were smart enough to have Jackie start to teach Bruce and Bruce to start to teach Jackie.
Okay.
They switch roles.
Yes.
And then come up with something Jackie always did. Then come up with a synthesis of both their styles, which was even more powerful.
Right. That'd be great.
Oh man.
Like the Abbott and Costello.
Yeah.
Kung Fu Abbott and Costello.
Yeah.
Remember, right?
What you doing?
Look at all those beautiful people in that panel.
I can't see you.
Look, I'm looking at them. I'm enjoying the panel.
She says she's enjoying the panel.
I'm enjoying the panel with beautiful people.
Bruce,
I think I'm talking to a ghost.
Looking at all them.
Jerry Lewis,
faces.
Jackie Robert Buster Keaton. They would have made a Jerry Keaton movie.
Yeah.
Movie.
How cool.
Even better.
Man.
They improved everything they did.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it. Okay, let's move on.
No, Rick, keep talking. This is fascinating. I'm just kidding.
I also have spoken repeatedly to Jet Li, Gordon Chan, the director of Fist of Legend, as well as Jackson Liu is a friend of mine. Jackson Liu, who played the
Right.
master who got his ear pulled.
Yeah.
He hosted me the last time I was in Taiwan in 2017.
Nice.
So I know a lot about Fist of Legend, too.
Nice. When I went down to Hollywood many years ago, when I told you, Rick, when I ran into Sammo Hung. Well, he had a panel down there. He showed Pedicab Driver, which is a great movie, on the theater. And I ran into Benny the Jet Urquidez, who was also there too. But I met Sammo for a little bit, because just for a little bit, and I got my photo with him, and I was just fanboying when I left. But he's an inspiration to me. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows martial arts and he's got gut. You know what I'm saying? That means there's hope. There's hope for us biggins out there.
Martial arts, you could kill yourself. Kung Fu, regenerative.
That's it. But it was interesting. Before the movie started, he had he went up there to just talk about the movie, but he mentioned a few Bruce Lee stories on the set of Enter the Dragon. And he said that they kind of had this competition between each other, but friendly. It was friendly. And he said that that he brought. Oh, okay. That's what he was saying.
Tell the story Sammo told you, and then I'll tell you the story Sammo told me.
Okay, cool. This is awesome. All right, here, hold on. So Sammo said that they locked eyes or whatever. He said by the time he got his knee up to kick Bruce's foot was already in his face. That's what he said. And I was like, holy shit. But he didn't kick him. Yeah. Sammo said he didn't kick him, but he just wanted to was like, oh shit. I don't want none of that. But he said it was a friendly back and forth. But yeah, let's hear the real story. Go ahead, Rick.
There's two stories that Sammo told me. Of course, I'm very lucky in that, again, I came to them as the editor of Inside Kung Fu and the author of the Martial Art Movies book. So they weren't treating me like a fan, which is why I didn't get pictures with many of them for many years, because I wanted to stay professional. So the first time, I interviewed Sammo both in New York, LA, San Diego, Hong Kong, and so I got these stories over the years. The first time, Sammo was a big honcho at Golden Harvest. He was the man. He was the La Kal Young of Golden Harvest. He was the main choreographer. And so he's off in Thailand and in the Philippines and Taiwan making movies, and he keeps hearing about this Bruce Lee guy. Oh, he's going to kick your ass, Sammo. He's much better than you. And Sammo is, because of his gut, because of his scar, because he's always had to deal with his envy of Jackie and Yun, he's getting more and more pissed. So when he comes back to Hong Kong and goes into Golden Harvest, he is ready to tear off Bruce's head. And Golden Harvest has very narrow, windy hallways. And long hallways, and it's only room for one or two people. So he's going, and he comes to the end of one hall and turns to go down to the next one. And by total coincidence, Bruce comes around the corner of the other one. And they're all the way down the hall from each other, facing each other. And they hadn't met before this. And they come up to each other, and he says, "Are you Bruce Lee?" He goes, "Are you Sammo Hung?" And Sammo goes, "Yeah." And Bruce goes, "Want to fight?" Sammo goes, "Yeah." So right in the hallway, they prepare. And Bruce prepares. And, if you watch the La Kal Young movies, all those movements they make is gathering their chi.
Right.
In real fights, they're not doing this stupidity. They might be this stupidity or this stupidity or whatever. They're ready to go.
Ready to go.
It's going to hurt
you.
Yeah. So they get ready. They get in their position. And Bruce breaks. He breaks the position. He stops. He goes down. He leans in. And he says, "You ready?" Before Sammo finishes saying "yeah," the next thing Sammo knows He is looking at the ceiling. You didn't even see the shot. Bruce Lee leans over him. Samuel's on the floor. Bruce leans over and goes, "How was that?" And Samuel goes, "Great!" and he puts his thumb up, and Bruce takes his hand, and helps him to his feet. And they were friends ever since until Enter the Dragon.
Oh.
Enter the Dragon. I'm sorry, I should wait, but I can't wait. You have to know this story.
Okay.
Again, Samuel is off in Thailand or Philippines or Taiwan, wherever he's making the movie, and he gets a call from Bruce. You know the story with Enter the Dragon, that Bruce created that opening sequence.
Right.
After everything else was filmed. And so Samuel gets a call, and Bruce goes, "I need you." And Samuel goes, "I'll be there as fast as I can." And he comes, and of course Samuel, as you know, is the guy that Bruce fights in that opening Shaolin Temple sequence.
Yes.
And it went great. It was awesome. You guys, if you don't know about the Chinese situation with face, you have to give the person face. You're about to find out with a vengeance. Bruce drives Samuel back to the airport so he can get on the plane to go back to his location to continue making the film he was making. And then Bruce, and Samuel already alluded to me, that the Bruce that he met at the end of Enter the Dragon was not the Bruce he met in that hallway. He was the sunglassed, arrogant, drug-taking.
Oh, okay.
He was the guy who was already on his suicidal path. And at the gate, he gives Samuel basically the equivalent of, it was like, how much, at that time, Hong Kong dollars were like 700 English dollars or whatever. So he gave Samuel the equivalent of like $20.
Wow.
He couldn't have been more insulting. He could not have been more insulting.
Wow.
He was breaking all his relationships, and Samuel's going, basically, what the fuck is this? And and I forgot, he didn't tell me. He was so enraged, he didn't even hear whatever. Because basically Bruce sort of went, you did me a favor, here you go.
Right.
Here's something for your trouble. And Samuel basically went, I did do you a favor.
Yeah.
Why are you treating me like this?
Yeah.
And they were never friends again.
Wow.
When someone came up to him in the club and said, and leans over to Samuel and goes, "Bruce Lee died." Samuel, this is what Samuel was telling me. Samuel just sort of went, "Okay, so Bruce Lee died."
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Well, that's unfortunate. Man, the storytelling went from this is the greatest thing I've ever heard to, oh, fuck. But wow. Chad is losing their mind right now. They're like, holy shit, this is like amazing. But it's sad they didn't get a chance to reconcile or anything like that. But Gilbert, thanks for donating to the channel, my friend. He goes, I'm in and out tonight. Phat Samurai Guy, there's some things I'm working on, and I just wanted to thank you and everyone who's been on this show for our entertainment. He's thanking us. So thank you, Gilbert. Thanks for popping in and watching. We appreciate it. Oh, man.
Quick question for sorry, tangent. But you mentioned briefly that Bruce was on drugs. This is something I've never heard before. Is that a true thing that he was taking drugs towards the end of his life?
Well, again, I cannot tell you whether it was true. I can tell you that more than a half a dozen people have told me, and these are Hong Kong people. These are people who have worked with him. Yeah.
Now, are we talking drugs, or are we talking the sticky, icky? Because a lot of people looked at Bruce as like they looked at him as kind of like a hippie. So we got sticky, icky drugs.
No, he was at the end of his life. Have you read the the new book on Bruce Lee that my
Be Water?
huh?
The Be Water one? Or
No, Bruce Lee: A Life. Hold on.
No.
It's the best book on Bruce ever done.
Oh, nice.
Done.
I got some book buying I need to do. Chat, you guys are badasses. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. You're getting some amazing stories tonight. I don't want to talk anymore.
Dude,
I just want to sit. I just want to sit here and listen.
Everything that he's saying is completely believable.
But
You know what I mean?
Polly wrote this book,
okay.
Okay,
Bruce Lee. What is it? Bruce Lee: A Life.
Bruce Lee: A Life. Okay.
Yeah. And he basically handled it the same way I handled it, which was never met the man, wasn't there, cannot tell you for a fact, but basically everybody was saying that at the end of his life, we knew that he had a seizure, we knew that he collapsed, he was having blinding headaches, which was generally known, and
Right.
apparently he used pot as a way of dealing with those, but at the same time, while no one said that they snorted with him, at the end of his life, from the way it was being described to me, he certainly was behaving as if he was snorting.
Okay.
Making, because the highest form of kung fu is not to fight to make your enemy your friend. And at the end of his life, he was making friends into enemies.
Right.
Something was wrong.
And was that true though? Also, that when he was so focused on filming and getting Enter the Dragon done and getting Game of Death done and all that, that he was using different type of workout equipment to where he could just sit and just type and work, but the workout equipment was kind of help him like do sit-ups and all this crazy stuff.
No, well, yes and no. What I
Okay.
Also, I interviewed extensively Fred Weintraub, the producer of Enter the Dragon, and he was very forthcoming about Bruce's problems on the set in terms of being so nervous, so anxious to be the Chinese Superman. But what he didn't tell me this, but someone else told me this, and I'm trying to remember who, was that he had in the movie, the Bruce Lee movie with Jason Scott Lee, they showed it as a metal band on his chest.
Okay.
It was not on his chest, from what I was told. It was on his effing head.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Basically, he gave himself 2 shocks and tried to complete his strike between the shocks.
Whoa.
That's what I was told.
Okay.
I was
Wow.
told by more than one person that they believed he was also epileptic.
Oh. Okay.
And I believe Pauly mentions that as well in the Matthew Pauly.
Wow.
That again, that was something, and that was another reason why he may have died the way when he did and how he did.
Right.
Because again, he was in denial. And that was
Gotcha. We got Sexy Sumo saying these are awesome and interesting stories. He's loving it. The Movie Dojo Army is having a great time tonight. Gilbert says it's great for sure. Let's see here. Dog Soldier says, massive thanks to everyone for our hard work and putting all this stuff, getting it together to talk about this stuff. So he's a fan. Everyone's having a good time with his crazy stories, even though it's a little sad, but it's just like, holy shit,
I'm just having fun.
Huh?
I'm just having fun. I'm not.
Yeah.
That's why the normal person. I remember my dad talking about when Bruce Lee died, and he just didn't believe it. He's like, because nobody knows this type of stuff. He's like, the guy was in great shape. Like, that's why people thought he was assassinated. Because, like, the guy's in great shape. Like, how could he die? But, you hear stuff like this, and it starts to make sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Here we go. No way Fist of Legend wins the verses after all this. We got, here we go, Rick. We got upcoming film director Ranjit Marwa here. He's got some badass stuff coming out with Sonny Pang and people from the Raid films. Ranjit, my friend, I appreciate you popping in and saying what's up. You need to rewind this video.
Yes.
You need to go back because there's some crazy stories, some very interesting stories that Rick's telling us. You gotta rewind and see the whole thing, man.
I'm also writing the screenplay for one of my books.
Oh, nice.
And I want one of you guys to collaborate with me and make it.
Awesome.
There you go.
Let's talk afterwards.
Kyle, there you go. Kyle, Ranjit, Chaos. Hey, you know how to get a hold of Rick.
I've been trying.
If you make a movie based off of this, Rick, I will gladly come in and get killed for you. Put me in a fight scene. Get me a little neck cracked or something.
I've written
It's a love story, though.
for Jackie Chan. Never got made, but I wrote it.
Oh shit!
What?
We're gonna get Dog Soldier. Kyle is pondering.
I'm wondering, because so many things are on my plate right now. I'm going.
Well, we'll discuss. We will discuss later. Yes, but yeah. But this is great. But back to Fist of Fury real quick before we go to Fist of Legend. Fast forward several years. But yeah, this film is just too iconic. It's too iconic. There's too many iconic, memorable moments in it. You know, you got the Russian fight here, and you know, I've never seen anything like this when I first saw this. And all the other traditional kung fu movies. And he put Bruce Lee in an armbar. Did they do a lot of arm bars in kung fu films back then? I mean, this is some mixed martial arts stuff, and I love how Bruce Lee just said, "Fuck technique. I'm just gonna bite the leg.
I
Fuck
would
it."
do the same thing.
Yeah. What did
Kundo.
It's it's for your life.
Yeah. Yeah, and wasn't there a scene, Rick, on the short-lived show Longstreet that the only reason people remember Longstreet is because Bruce had a small part in it, but I thought he put the lead guy in some kind of armbar or some kind of submission, and he goes, "Okay, get out," and the guy goes, "Well, I can't get out. What am I supposed to do?" And Bruce Lee tells him, "Bite."
Or tickle.
Here you go. Are we not animals? That's what he said. But, or tickle like Jackie Chan. That's right. Hey, it worked against Benny the Jetterkitas. Just tickled Benny. And Wheels on Meals.
I will add this, even though it wasn't in Fist of Fury, it was in Way of the Dragon. The fact that you actually see Bruce punch a dude in the dick.
Yeah.
Just as a finishing blow.
Yeah.
Everyone said, no one should ever do that. It's like, nope, he
Yeah.
did.
So you know what that means? That guy's dick exploded on impact. All right. Pretty positive all around. Let's see what happens. And don't forget, it may be positive all around for Fist of Legend too, but we got to vote at the end. But don't forget, Movie Dojo Armory, if we have a tie, we will go to you guys to see who the winner will be tonight. All right, let's go ahead and get to Fist of Legend. Came out in 1994, directed by Gordon Chan. That's right, starring Jet Li playing the role now of Shenzhen. That's right. And excuse my pronunciations, I'm horrible with names, but we have Siu-Ho Chin. I've always thought he was a very underrated martial arts star. Billy Chow, who's a fucking amazing maniac villain in this. I love him in this. And my personal favorite, one of my favorites of all time, Yasuraki Kurata, or Shoji Kurata. I absolutely love this man. He is just, he is so badass. He is so badass. So the plot synopsis. So in 1937, a Chinese martial artist returns to Shanghai to find his teacher dead and his school harassed by the Japanese. Pretty much basically the same plot as Fist of Fury. But yeah, Shoji Kurata is so badass.
No, he's not badass. The great thing about Shoji Kurata is he's good ass.
He's good ass?
In fact, he's great ass.
He's great ass!
Favorite artist.
I've been told the same thing.
Yep. There you go.
I believe it.
Shoji Kurata is so great ass that he's 685 years old and he can still whoop my ass. Mm-hmm. That's how awesome this guy is.
Any kung fu guy can, because it's not about muscles, anger, and fists. It's about internal energy and a sense of it's internal energy.
Which one is he in the movie?
And Shoji is.
I'll play the clip for you. Here you go, Tony. Right here.
So great.
He's the older guy. He's the older Japanese guy.
He's awesome.
Yeah, that guy he's awesome now. What is he, like 80? He's like 70 or something like that?
He's staggeringly versatile.
He's still good. He's still good right now.
He's great.
Yeah, great ass. There you go. Hashtag Great ass.
You know, a badass is a badass because he's always.
Yeah.
You never see Soji Karada do that. Always chill, baby. Even watch that fight, he's just doing it, man.
Yeah, he's legend. He's legend.
Really.
But
Those Jack.
you know, with this film right here, Yuen Wu-ping, the other legendary fight choreographer and filmmaker, did the fight choreography for Fist of Legend. The Wachowski brothers, at the time, were huge fans of Yuen Wu-ping. They watched Fist of Legend to death. And all these other movies where Yuen Wu-ping did the fight choreography, like Once Upon a Time in China 2 and all that stuff. And they were so big fans, we were like, we got to get this guy to do the fight choreography for The Matrix. You know. And do you think, Rick, if they did not go with Yuen Wu-ping, would The Matrix would have still been as successful?
Yes. Because ultimately, Yuen Wu-ping, who I've met and had lunch, I have a great story about he and Donnie Yen were enemies for a while. And
Lou Dam Phillips? Okay.
Because Donnie treated him with disrespect. And,
oh, damn it.
Left his...
Donnie, no.
Damn it, Kyle.
I'm in Santa Monica. They hadn't seen each other for many, 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 many years.
Right.
This is self-aggrandizing, and I apologize in advance.
Oh, no. It's fine. I love it.
I'm having lunch with Yun and his entire entourage at a Chinese restaurant in Santa Monica, California. And by total coincidence, Donnie Yen is with his wife at another table. And I look at everybody, and I ask everybody, and may I? And they said, ask the master. So I turn to Yun and go, may I? And he goes, if you want. So I got up, I went over to Donnie and said, would you like to join Master Yun and us at the table? And Donnie looked at his wife. He looked over at Master Yun, who looked back, got up and came over. And that's the first time they had spoken to each other since their breakup many, many, many years before.
Wow. Man.
So I sat there going. Then later, when I left with the guys from Inside Kung Fu, I started doing this.
Are you saying the reason why they work together now is because of that dinner, and also they're responsible for Crouching Tiger 2?
And also, Donnie grew up a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Wow. Way to go, Eric. Dog Soldier says, way to go, Eric. Oh, man. Yeah, on the Fist of Legend. All right.
And
so, Jet Li. Now, I am really interested. Oh, go ahead, Rick.
I didn't answer your question. I'm sorry, I went off on my own story. Your question was, would Matrix have been as good? Yes. Because Yun Wu-ping discovered, as everyone did, as Chow Yun-fat did, as John Woo did, as every single Asian filmmaker who came to Hollywood, except Jackie, because Jackie's not going to let this happen. The rest of the Jackie's going to let it happen. Once you're on a Hollywood set, you've got no power at all.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And being who they are, the Chinese only spoke when spoken to, only answer when asked.
Right.
So unlike Jackie will say, no, this happened in Rush Hour. He said, no, fuck this, I'm taking over. But Donnie won't do it. Yun won't do it. So once he got to the Matrix set, the Wachowskis would tell them what they wanted, and Yun would do it. They wouldn't say, what should we do, Master Yun? They would say, this is what we want, Master Yun.
Right.
And Master Yun would go, okay.
Right.
And then do it.
Right.
So no, the Kung Fu was not extraordinary. The Kung Fu, to my eyes, and to many elevated, true Kung Fu people, in the Matrix was rudimentary.
Right.
Yes.
But it was Kung Fu being done by white people. So that was cool.
Copy that.
Evolutionary. So that was
right. Copy that. Now, before Chaos speaks, I'm
Oh,
very
boy.
curious.
Oh boy.
I'm very curious about this. This is going to be very interesting because Chaos, Chaos is always honest with me, right? And we
Yeah.
agree. We're good buds. We support each other. We're homies. We're tag team champions. Sometimes we kick ass take names, but sometimes we agree to disagree in a few things. But it's all love. But here's the thing: he told me he's not a fan of Jet Li. He just doesn't like Jet Li. Once upon a time in China 1 and 2, he hated. He just didn't. It's not his thing. So I'm really curious to hear what he has to say about Fist of Legend because when you compare Fist of Legend to those films, the fight scenes are a lot more grounded. There's not a lot of wire fu compared to Once Upon a Time in China 1 and 2. To the Westerners over here,
Right.
Fist of Legend is their favorite. It's either a top 3 Jet Li favorite. If they have a list of Jet Li movies, Fist of Legend is either their favorite or in the top 5. So, this is one of my favorite Jet Li movies. And believe it or not, I know this is sad, but, we got to start somewhere. But my introduction to Jet Li was in Lethal Weapon 4. That was my introduction to him. I went and saw Black Mask. Now, me and Eric, we're okay with Black Mask now as a guilty pleasure. But when I saw Black Mask at the time, I just wanted to see the Jet Li guy. Because I was just like, holy crap. Every time he was on screen in Lethal Weapon 4, I was like, holy shit. But Black Mask wasn't really a great introduction to me until I went to my local video store and saw a movie called Fist of Legend. I rented it, and I was like, holy fuck. This is what everyone's talking about. This is Jet Li. So I'm really curious what Master Chaos has to say. There you go, Master.
Master Chaos, I'll give you my anvil. Here, take my anvil.
And you got my
Well, thanks for teeing it up like that. I appreciate that.
Hey, that's what I do.
Okay, so here's my thing with I think obviously Jay Lee can fight. I'm not going to take that away from obviously he knows what he's doing. He can. So sometimes you can tell if somebody can't throw a fucking kick, and this guy can throw a kick. My sticking point is not just Jet Li, but any martial arts films. I hate wire fu. I hate wire work. I just feel like it's so cool and fluid and special enough. You don't need the wires, and the wires make it feel like I'm watching a science fiction movie, so like a fantasy film.
Right.
So when you throw wires in the mix, I'm not happy. And this is like nonstop wires. He's like constantly on wires in these movies, and so that already I disconnect from it. I don't believe him as a real person. And by the way, Jet Li's best movie is Lethal Weapon 4. So.
Oh.
No,
okay. All right. Go for
it. There was a film he made. I think it's called The Enforcer. I may be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a cop or something. I thought that was a really awesome movie.
Oh wow!
I think obviously he's a solid fighter. It's a combination of for me he doesn't really have a good screen presence. He feels you know what I mean. There's something about him.
Okay.
Jackie's my dude. I can watch Jackie movies nonstop. That guy's awesome because he's doing it for the audience. And I feel like sometimes Jet Li's kind of doing it for himself. I just get the impression that it feels like it's a selfish performance and I've got to look cool in every pose and like I've got to be completely unstoppable and there's just something about and then Bruce did the same thing. There's something about Bruce that feels very natural. Rick was talking about sort of the poetry of it and I'm a big one of my favorite things about Kung Fu is the poetry of it, the synergy of it, the energy of it. And I feel Bruce conveys that positive energy. Jackie conveys a positive energy. Jet Li feels like a cul-de-sac of energy for me. So that's the best way to put it.
Hey.
So here we go. We have basically the same plot. Yes, the fights are fast, but indicative of its time, of course, when it was made, it's cuts, random cuts. He punches 2 guys, cut over here, kicks 2 guys over here. And like we talked about in Fist of Fury, that wide shot is just him kicking dudes. And that was awesome. And that's all you needed.
What about this shot?
Oh yeah, there's that one. But but here's what's different about that shot.
Okay.
I don't care about him. I didn't connect with that version of Chen Zhen. I didn't connect with his journey. I didn't on his face from the beginning. He just seemed like I hate to put it this way. Because to me, he just feels like a mannequin, and that's a rude way to say it. But there's something
like kind of
he's just
generic deadpan.
and that's why
like
he
generic.
was so well. And for example, Lethal Weapon 4, he was the bad guy. And he was kind of like that stereotypical, dead-faced, Asian stereotype bad guy. But here, it's the same story essentially. The fights are a little too chopped up for me.
Okay.
And I feel like kind of takes away the magic. I don't know. It just wasn't there for me. Jet Li doesn't really do it for me in general. I did appreciate that there was. Well, I think there was a little bit of wire work, but it was limited.
It's limited, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely more grounded, which I appreciate, and those are the best fights.
Okay.
And the dude is fucking fast, and that's awesome to watch.
Okay.
So artistically, in his fight style, I think it's interesting to watch him.
Okay.
But in terms of how does the movie work together, how does he, what does he bring to the movie? I don't know. I've seen so many movies that I feel like that was sort of just feels kind of whatever to me, honestly.
Okay. Kind of throwaway, entertaining fights here and there.
Yeah.
But as an overall movie, if you're not on board with the lead, then you're kind of checked out, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
So
You're kind of like.
I would say that it sucks. No, I'm just kidding. No, it doesn't suck. But the only positive thing I would say is that I like when it was a grounded fight, and I liked see him get into that, and I like that energy between the first few moments before the fight goes down. But I don't know.
Did you at least enjoy the fight at the end, the Billy Chow fight? Did you at least that?
I enjoyed the fights, but it's a surface level. It wasn't like with the Jackie fight. You're like, holy shit, what? You know what I mean?
Right.
Or with the Bruce Lee fight, like, damn, oh my god, that hurts. Yeah, it was just like, okay, I don't know.
All right.
This is my impression.
Hey. Well, you liked it. It seems like you liked it a little bit more than the Once Upon a Time in China movie, so that's kind of a positive.
I did like it. The Once Upon a Time is a whole other story. Those are just so long in terms of plot.
Right.
Yeah, but the second one was great. I did like the second one.
Eric, should we even bother suggesting Chaos watch Fearless? Just out of curiosity.
I've seen it. I've seen all the Jet Li movies.
You didn't even like Fearless?
No. I've seen.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Wait, have you seen Martial Arts of Shaolin?
Oh, Shaw Brothers.
Directed by La Colleen.
Maybe not. Unless it was retitled to something else. I don't know. I might not have.
You can find it probably on Amazon Prime now, and I believe it's still on Amazon Prime.
I'll look it up.
But when we get to me, I'll give you the whole.
Yeah, you might like that. You might like that a lot more because that's straight up old school.
The movies you need to see.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay,
Cool. All right. Nothing else bothered you about the movie, Chaos? Anything you would have changed?
The directing, directing was too. Obviously it's a new school movie, so it has that like kind of feel to it.
Too much quick cut editing is what you're.
Okay. Too much quick cut editing.
Okay.
The cast was fine. Whatever. I was pretty, lukewarm on the whole thing, to be honest.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Eric, Fist of Legend.
Yeah, this one, I would have to say, I enjoy the characters a lot in this one, actually. Like, they do certain things, I would have to say, for a Hong Kong film, if I had $1, every time I watched a Hong Kong or a Chinese language film where the Japanese were just pure evil, I could probably retire right now. It's really refreshing to see a movie that doesn't freaking do that for a change. And, so we have some Japanese characters here. We got, in this movie, he's dating a Japanese girl.
Yes.
Played by Shinobu Nakayama, who some people might recognize from the Gamera films from the 90s, which are quite excellent. Yeah. So you get that aspect of it. And she, it's a nice little back and forth there with those two, and it gives you a little bit of context, what it might be like to have that cross-cultural kind of relationship with everything that's going on at the time. Yeah. And then they elevate some characters, man. Siu-Ho Chin's character, the dude's elevated here. He's got multidimensionality. You get that whole concept, that whole aspect of having Jet Li come in and the other students at the martial arts academy there are paying more attention to Jet because he's new and he's got these fresh techniques and all this stuff, and that creates conflict. Not intentional conflict, but it's conflict. And I really like that aspect of the film. They kind of wrap that up near the end. And then you got my boy, Yasuaki Kurata.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the first time I saw him was in the Corey Yun film, So Close. And
yes, he's awesome in that.
That's a good movie.
Final fight in that movie's legit.
Legit.
But I love his character in this, too, because he's actually a pretty nice dude. He's just not really... he doesn't have that many negative qualities. He's just him and Jet are kind of on a path. Their paths cross, and a mutual respect develops. He even teaches Jet some stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He wins the fight.
Yeah, and I really like the characters in this one. I'll tell you that much. Now the fighting, I didn't really have a problem with the editing, per se. But we get a nice variety of really good quality stuff. The opening scene with the dislocated shoulders, and that's a real scene. Very different from some of the styles we see later on. And then you'll get another big one. I would say is Jet Li versus Siu-Ho Chin. I really like as well when the two buddies fight, and then Jet is kind of throwing the fight early on, but he sees he's disrespecting his lady, so he's got to go full out. That was really good. And then we get the two big ones near the end. You get Yasuaki Kurata in the field with the blindfolds. I mean, this is just like, first time I saw this movie, my head kind of exploded.
Yeah.
And then the finale with Billy Chow, which, and again, another thing I would say about the Chinese Connection is that the bad guys didn't put up that much of a fight, but in this film, like Tony said, Jet's got to man up, man, because he loses. He basically loses to Kurata. Kind of a draw, I guess. And then you got Billy Chow just throwing him all over the place, and he's got to adapt, be fluid, and just kind of adapt and try to win this thing. So I like that aspect of the film as well. So I think this one just has so much energy to it, and it has a little bit of nuance, high quality fighting. So yeah, this one's definitely a favorite of mine.
Nice. Any negatives? Anything tweakers?
There's a few shots maybe where they, like Master Chaos said, maybe they assisted a few shots with wires and maybe looked a little odd. Outside of that, though, I can't really think of that much.
Right. Copy that. All right, we'll go ahead and get to me, and we'll keep it rocking and rolling here. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, completely blown away watching this on video back in the day. The fight scenes were just, for me, they were pretty badass. And I love Shoji Kurata, man. Like, I can't. He's like the fucking shit. You know what I mean? And the Billy Chow fight at the end, I was just like, dude, this is fucking brutal, and it's long, it's lengthy. I love that. It's like you were rewarded. The movie rewards the viewer at the end. You know what I mean? And it's just like. And then there's little touches, like Eric was saying. He gets his arm dislocated, and he pulls the Riggs from Lethal Weapon. He puts his arm back, right? And then there's and then there's the little touches, like him doing, like Eric was saying, adapting, but like him doing all these combinations, and then all of a sudden he puts his hand out like that to distract him, and hits him again. There's all these little things, like, just badass. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, fake out. Boom, hit him again. Like, there's so much moments like that. And plus, when was the last time you saw somebody get punched in the fucking armpit? Come on. Come on. I need to try that.
The move, Samurai, is against Billy Chow when he ducks down, when his shoulders, he ducks down and his leg comes up behind him. It gets Chow in the head. I love that shot.
This one right here, right? This one. Yeah. Yeah, it's brutal. And then, I kind of agree with Tony a little bit. It's nice to see the hero get his ass kicked. And basically was almost defeated. And he did actually lose to Kurata. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kurata won the fight, and like Eric said, taught him a lesson. We're gonna go ahead.
I'll be talking about this more, but I wanted to interrupt this at that juncture.
Okay.
Kung Fu is different than martial arts. Highest form of Kung Fu, not to fight, make your enemy your friend. However, the goal of a great Kung Fu person, and there's absolutely no question that Jet Li is a great Kung Fu person. He was a Kung Fu champion since he was 12. the lesson, it's in Kung Fu, it is never win or lose. It is always learn or not learn. And karate was giving him a gift, which he happily accepted. He taught him something, which is more precious than any win you could ask. Carry on.
Yep.
Nice. Nice. Preaching to the choir here. Sexy Sumo says next time me and him fight, he's going to let me punch him in the armpit. All right. You said it, so you gotta let me do it now, and we'll see what happens. But yeah.
Samurai, when it happens, don't punch. Use this part.
Oh, all right.
All
right. Okay.
Right now.
Or even the panther fist.
Nice. Sumo, you're fucked. You're screwed, buddy. That's right. Oh, man, we're having... here we go. See, look at... Hashtag great ass. Great ass. Hashtag. There you go. Oh, man. But, yeah, I was completely like, dude, this is so fucking badass. There was a DVD that came out called Ultimate Fights. That came out a long time ago. And... they had a lot of mainstream stuff on there. Some stuff I was like, why is this on here? And then they had like, okay, I like that. Roddy Piper's They Live Fight in the Alley. I love that movie. That deserves to be there for a street fight. Yeah, sure. But they didn't really have a lot of martial arts fights. But the fight with Jet Li versus Billy Chow made the cut on there. I do remember that a long time ago. Here's the thing. I'm going to flip the script here. I was blown away when I watched it the first time, and many times after that. I still enjoy this. This is still top 5 Jet Li movies for me. Top 5. Here's the thing. I totally get and I totally understand. I just rewatched this last night. I totally get and I totally understand Eric's just like, thank God, a fresh new coat of paint here. He's got a Japanese love interest. They show both sides of, racial issues, which I like that in movies. It's very interesting. It's something new. You know what I mean? It's not just all the Japanese were evil all the time. Like, it's nice to see sides on both sides of the fence, if that made any sense, right? I get all that. However, and I understand why they did it. I totally understand why they made the movie that way in that time, right? They don't want to offend anybody. But when I watched it last night, right after watching Fist of Fury, I was like, dude, this feels like some fucking bullshit shit that would happen today. This sounds like some fucking, we're going to pussy out to if that's what it felt like to me. We're going to bitch out and pussy out to get more butts in the seats and please the audience of today. That's what I felt like watching the movie. Now, I still love the movie. I still love the fight scenes. But even at the end, where like they couldn't even kill off Chen Zhen at the end. He just pulled a fucking James Bond and became the Hong Kong Godfather at the end of the movie with his hat and drove off into the sunset. And I was just like, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. I totally understand why they did it. And I totally get why Eric and other people are fans of the changes because I get it. You want to see the same thing over and over. I get it. But for me, watching this right after Fist of Fury, and I remember that, and it just has an effect on me. And I'm like, this motherfucker's going to make Godfather. What? Chen Zhen's going to make Godfather. What the hell is? It's just, and then they still after he left, they fake his death, and he leaves. They still fucking close down the school. What is the point? What was the point of all that? So, still love the movie. Still on top 5 for me. But just story-wise, I just, I liked some of the story. I liked some of the characters. But it just, the emotional impact, or as Bruce would say in Enter the Dragon, the emotional content was not there for me. I'm literally watching this movie just for the fights. Which is not a bad thing. But that's how I feel about Fist of Legend. I still like it. I still enjoy it. But, that's what I feel about it. All right, Tony, Fist of Legend.
I agree with a lot of things that people are saying. Like, I do like Jet Li. I think I was introduced to him during, I think the first time I saw him was Black Mask, which I love that. I'm a fan of The One, and I guess that's probably a little guilty pleasure kind of thing, too.
Eric!
That's fun. We were talking about that last night.
Yeah.
Like, my wife hates it because, like, where she does this and it goes, oh, wow, and it's like, she's just like, what the hell is this? I'm like, this is awesome, I like the supernatural kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then going with the supernatural, I kind of feel like these are like, like knowing this to how to fight like this is like a supernatural thing in my head. It's like there might be on wires, but it's like at the same time it's really cool. Like when I first saw Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, like I never saw anything like that. I didn't really watch the movies, and I thought that looks so cool. Like these are like superhuman people. They're superhumans how they can fight and do all this stuff. So when I see that in this movie, it doesn't bother me because I love it.
Nice.
I love the speed. It's a lot faster, I think, than Fist of Fury, but Bruce has more impact, I think, when he hits. But this has like, it's not as fast as the Raid, but it has the speed in there, which I like. I'm always comparing it to the Raid now. But the story is kind of all over the place, while Fist of Fury was kind of a straight through story, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I do like. I haven't seen enough to realize that every Japanese person in these movies are bad, but I've seen 2 of them so far, and I get it. But it's kind of sad that how it relates to nowadays as well, how people aren't accepted and stuff, even by their own. Like I didn't know about any of this. Like the Chinese and the Japanese had a problem with that kind of like back and watching these movies, but like just recently something in the news with. They think that it was based on racism, and it's sad. So but getting off of that, I liked. Again, I can't say anybody's names. The blindfold fight. I don't even try. When I used to like review stuff for Arrow, I go a lot of unpronounceable names. I'm not even going to bother to say it, but that was my favorite fight in the whole thing. In the whole movie, I really enjoyed. Like that, I like how he's even like fair enough. Like, can you see? Because he's like could see that he's gonna be able to see. He's like great, a fair fight. And then like he starts doing the boxing kind of thing, and he's like looking at him like, "What is that? I'll show you." And he's like, "Oh, kind of a little cockiness." And then like you said, he gives him the gift at the end. And even the master, the guy who had like the conflict with them, but what wasn't intentional, showed him a move and said, like, if something happens to me, teach these to my students. And then when he goes off to fight the main bad guy at the end, it kind of reminded you of like a Rocky IV kind of thing. Like this is the big Russian guy, but he's not Russian, this one. Yeah. And there's Rocky. But again, I like seeing the hero get his ass kicked. I liked, how this guy was like, they kind of threw back to like the Fist of Fury where that guy like pushed in the nails, and this guy like hammered him in with his hands, and like he's just getting hit. And then it was just like this guy's indestructible, and he's tall, really tall. It's like he is a villain. That guy is a villain, like great villain. Like you did not like him at all, especially finding out like what happened. How he has this vendetta against them, and how his master plan of what he wants to do and take over everything. So he's definitely a dislikable guy, but like that fight was great as well. And like they both, Jet Li's getting his ass kicked at first, and then he kind of like he's laying down, and like you hear the voice come on like a adapt and all that, and he just gets up, and the other guy's just like, like oh shit, and then he adapts to it, and like then they're kind of evenly matched. It's like such a good moment, like a transition, like where you could tell where he learned something. But yeah, the fights were great. Jet Li was a little stiff-faced, like like Master Chaos said, like I could see that, definitely see that. Bruce has more of a character, like especially like with the, just like he's not even doing it, he's just walking around, and he's doing it. It's like something's gonna happen when you hear that shit. It's great. I can't do it.
No, that was pretty good actually.
Yeah, it was great.
Like that. I like in Fist of Fury, the wappa like that. But with Fist of Fury with the dump trucks, like him hitting the guy over the head with it, and it's just like all blood. I like that, and I kind of like that they substituted that with the belt fight in this, which was pretty cool. And then he actually sliced his throat, but he didn't really kind of do it. He did it, but he didn't.
Right.
It's like it's kill or be killed.
Yeah.
And then, But I think the link that I was watching, I didn't see no Into the Sunset or anything. I think it cut my ending off, so I didn't see that he lived. I saw the Japanese come in, the police come in, somebody else, and then
they may have cut it for
he was going
time.
to take the rap for it so that the countries don't go
Right.
You know, and it cuts off there.
Okay,
Same
it's probably
editors who did Killzone for you, Samurai Guy.
What was that?
I'm sure Rick is aware of that. Me and Kyle talked about that, Rick, how the first time I watched Killzone, or SPL, it's real quick, story time. Basically, I didn't know there were happy versions of movies out there. There were happy edits, which kind of sounds like something else right now. But my buddy bought like a bootleg. He's like, "Oh, we got to watch this," and I was like blown away. And then the movie just ended. Like right after Donnie defeated Sammo, or through him, he poured some alcohol for his homies. They showed the Simon Yam playing with the girl on the beach, and then credits. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, all right." That felt a little weird, but okay. And then when Dragon Dynasty released Killzone on Blu-ray, we got to buy it. Yeah. Bought it. We watched it. We were like, "Oh my god, what is happening right now?" Oh my god! But we loved it. We loved it. We loved that. We loved that ending a billion times better than the fake Disney ending.
Yeah.
But Tony, anything else? I'm sorry, I had to tell Rick that. But yeah.
I don't really. I guess I kind of said everything. It's just it's
really
tough
liked
to
it.
pick. I liked it. Oh, I definitely liked it. But it's going to be hard to pick. I'm still thinking, which one am I going to say?
Hey, this is versus. This is versus. Be honest. It's good. It's good. I know which one you're going to pick. But when we get to your choice to vote at the end, I'll say what you're going to pick first, just for fun. I forgot one more thing. For me, and then we'll go to Kyle. Kyle, I want to know if you agree with me on this. Okay? All right. So, again, when I first watched this movie, we get the Bruceisms, right? Jet Li, just for fun, starts doing the Bruceisms, right? He starts doing the Bruce Ali boxing shuffle and all that, right? When I first saw that, I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing! He's doing it for Bruce! He's doing it for Bruce! This is awesome! He's even doing the bouncing. Look at this shit. He said he's doing the Bruce Lee bouncing. This is great!" When I watched it last night, I was like, "Oh, this doesn't look right. Something's not right.
Yeah.
Like, this does not look right." Jet Li doing Bruce Lee bouncing looks awkward. Something does not look right. I don't know if you agree, Kyle, with me.
No, I definitely agree, and that's where I guess we'll go into my kind of feel of it now, because, like, the fact is, however many remakes, like, there's that new Fist of Fury, and then the TV series, and then this one, Fist of Legend.
Right.
Like, it definitely plays like a beat for beat, but as Eric has said also, that it's good to see a nice, refreshing take. Like, now we see both the Japanese and Chinese actually having a storyline together. But again, like, you have Jet Li portraying definitely a Bruce Lee character, which is like, you cannot emulate Bruce Lee at all. And yes, the truth is, Jet Li is a phenomenal martial arts actor.
Yeah.
He is really good actor. Like, there are subtleties in what he does. Like, definitely one of the films that I really look for him really well portraying a character is in the Fong Sayok movies or the Legend movies, and just showing how his emotions are when his mother's in trouble and trying to hold his friend together, like, while being beaten too. There's a lot of small moments in that, and that's what Jet Li has, is more like this very subtle performance in his acting, and yet here it's really just like, I don't know what to say about it, because like it is like he's emulating Bruce Lee at some parts, but at the same time, like, he could do what he's doing too, because we could all appreciate the fight between him and Siu-Ho. Like, those two are really phenomenal performing together, like, especially from Tai Chi Master, when they're playing former monks and brothers, and then they have to fight in the end. And that fight alone is just brutal, because you're watching these two friends fight each other, and then here they are again fighting each other to the point where it's like, okay, if you want to lead the school, you're gonna have to fight me. It's like, and Jet Li's like, "Are you serious? No." And then, of course, it gets to this point of like Siu-Ho's character is jealous that everyone's going to Jet Li's character, but at the same time, Jet Li feels bad that he beat him.
Right.
And then when we get to the Kurata and Jet Li fight, you do see that Kurata is just like looking at Jet Li, just like, really? And this is something that I will have to like do a tangent where Rick and I actually met in 2015, and this is where I kind of understood that like it took me like these 6 years to finally understand what Rick was talking about in terms of what you have to learn as a martial artist and everything else, and especially through my films too. Because I did like all the flashy flare crap, and I'm just like, wow, this ain't good. This ain't good. I regret certain things I did in my films, but I'm not. It's not that I'm disowning it. It's the fact that I'm learning from it and how to do better from it too. And that's what that fight alone between Kurata and Jet Li has done. Is like, yeah, even though you think you've lost, but I'm teaching you something, and that's how Jet Li adapts to Billy Chow's character near the end of the fight. And even though it does seem like he's just going harder and harder, it's like, no, he's trying to adapt to how do I beat such an opponent that's just overpowering and everything else. Because you can't just go full external to external. You really have to find that balance of everything. And really, like, I find that very interesting about this. And yes, the negatives that I have is the one thing that I do not like about the fact that Jet Li's approach to Chen Zhen is he is literally like, I know everything, like including digging up his master's body, and that you don't know where the surgery goes. Let's try this, and he already does it. Like, this is a poison. Here's this. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm good at you at this. I'm good at you at this. I did not like that part where he was like, I am better than everyone, up until the point where he had that fight with Kurata, and it's just like, okay, maybe I could. And then of course the ending where it is like, okay, he should be a martyr, but at the same time it's like, nope, we gotta have a proper ending where he just somehow just faked his death and then goes off in the distance. And yet Godfather ending, but at the same time, like, Jet Li is a phenomenal actor, martial artist, and yet, like, he's believable in what he does. But other than that, this one was just more of like a down step of just emulating Bruce Lee in certain ways.
Right. I mean, because we all know he's wushu kung fu. Mm-hmm. He's very good at what he does. But the thing, though, the nitpicky thing about the Bruce Lee bounce, luckily, though, that was only for a short while.
Yes.
You know, so it's not like his awkward Bruce Lee bouncing. It's not like that ruined the fight.
No.
Because it was just for a few seconds he did it. Yes. That was just for fan service. But it still looks awkward.
Yeah.
You can tell, it almost looks like when you look at Jet Li doing it, it's almost like, all right, hey, Jet, we're going to need you to do some boxing Bruce Lee, Ali shuffle bouncing. You can tell Jet Li's like, really? Are you sure? Okay.
Rick has something to say.
None of that's true.
Okay, I'm just joking. Yeah.
Well, no, you saying what you believe, and if everybody's ready, I'm about to tell you what actually happened on that movie.
Okay.
Copy that. Chaos, you had something.
Oh, no. I was going to say, Rick's got something to say. Let the master speak.
Oh, Kyle, real quick, before you talk, Kyle, what did you think of this character?
Oh, she definitely brought, like, a semblance of like, this balance for Jet Li to understand, like, both the Japanese side and the Chinese side, and to actually keep him grounded in a sense of, like, yeah, you know, like,
right.
They can't be our enemies anymore. Like, we have to adapt to what the world is changing to. And yet, that's sad that still the world's not understanding that.
Right. All right, Rick.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I've made a list. And I'll start with my discovery of Jet Li.
Okay.
There was a temple in Chinatown, New York, which was a movie theater, which only showed mainland Chinese movies. All the other movie theaters showed Hong Kong films. In 1981, they showed the very first true mainland Chinese kung fu film, which was the Shaolin Temple, which was Jet Li's first film when he was
Good
like
movie.
17.
Good movie.
That's Jet Li. Jet Li has said, I've spoken to Jet Li. The last time, my favorite line from Jet Li is, the last time I spoke to him was after Fearless came out. And I said to him, they're saying that this is your last Kung Fu film. And he went, yeah, that's what they're saying, all right. He already know he had done a couple of others since then. But Jet Li has been very upfront about this for his entire life. As I said, he was a Kung Fu, not martial arts, he was a Kung Fu champion in China since he was 12 years old. He went to school for it. He took it as his major.
Wow.
He knows Kung Fu, not martial arts. And he has said, I am not a stuntman. I am not an actor. I'm a Kung Fu student. How do you know a Kung Fu master is not a Kung Fu master? When they say they're a Kung Fu master.
Yeah.
Just like, how do you know a ninja's not a ninja? When they say they're a ninja. But he had a lot of fun. He felt it was very important because he's mainland Chinese, not Hong Kong. When he had to leave Hong Kong in the 90s because of all the violence that the Triad were doing to the film industry, he went back to China, where he could be safe. He's an awesome human being, but he is a true Kung Fu person. He's a true Kung Fu student. He's not trying to impress anybody. He knows he's limited in everything but Kung Fu. But in terms of communicating that from a filmmaking standpoint, the way Bruce, no. He kowtows to Bruce in terms of filmmaking, kowtows to Jackie in terms of performing. But in terms of Kung Fu, if you know Kung Fu, he can take a backseat to nobody. You see that. And you see his personality in the Shaolin Temple and the hilarious kids from Shaolin. But probably the best one is Martial Arts of Shaolin.
Yeah. You.
That energetic character. And he's doing like some of the best, because it's being directed by La Kao Young.
Yes.
It's some of the best Kung Fu ever put to screen.
It's insane.
But unless you know Kung Fu, it's just too confusing. I mean, I can watch the fights in martial arts from Shaolin endlessly and pick up something new each time. It is so complex, and he does the best. He does the best mantis ever at the end of that movie. But again, he just does it. He doesn't make it showy the way La Kao Young. He doesn't make it for movies. He just does Shaolin Kung Fu.
Yeah.
You ever hear of a drummer named Buddy Rich?
Yeah.
A friend of mine who's a drummer says you can always tell the drummers when you're at a Buddy Rich concert, because if you turn around and you look at the audience, the drummers are the ones who have their mouths open. Regular people who are watching it don't understand the incredibly, staggeringly amazing things Buddy Rich is doing. And that's the way I felt with Shaolin Temple 2, Martial Arts from Shaolin, and others. When I look at Bruce Lee, it's just like, how the F is he doing this? In such a way that nobody who does, it's boring. Well, if you know some stuff, it's not boring. But anyway, let me move on. Fist of Legend, when he decided, this was near the end, everybody was getting ready for mainland China taking Hong Kong back. And everybody was effing panicking. They figured their lives were over. And a bunch of and also the other thing that differentiates the great Kung Fu stars is the same thing that differentiates the great dancing stars. Nobody's Fred Astaire. Nobody's Gene Kelly. A lot of people try. Nobody can do that. Those guys were unique. Same thing with Bruce, same thing with Jackie, same thing with Jet. You could train, you could do what they do if you train 6 hours a day for 20 years. But most actors are not going to do that. So most of these really great Kung Fu people, and a lot of people ask me, is Jackie Chan a real Kung Fu guy? I say he's one of the best Kung Fu guys because he takes a little from everybody. He's not going somebody asked, what's the best style? I say they're all the same. The human body, the human mind, the world around them, the rest is money and ego. But everything is human body, human mind, and the world around them. Bruce Lee knew that. That's why he created Jeet Kune Do, the style of no style. You take, you use whatever works, tickling, biting, whatever. But Jet Li was trained specifically in classical Chinese Kung Fu. So a lot of these guys, I opened up to my book, like look at La Cha Yang's Legendary Weapons of China, Sammo's Dragons Forever, Jackie's Drunken Master 2. Jet, with the help of director Gordon Chan, decided he wanted to immortalize his Kung Fu at its peak. Even though Kung Fu guys can continue to be stunningly, staggeringly powerful into their dotage, into their old age, you hear these stories, and I've seen it happen with these 80 and 85-year-old Kung Fu guys, and I'm willing to call them masters, who will take a guy and hurl him across the room with just, a flick. I've done it at one point. Not always. I can't harness that kind of energy easily the way they can. They've been training it. But it's not cinematic. It looks fake. It looks like magic if you put it on screen. So all these real Kung Fu guys wanted to immortalize their screen Kung Fu at their height. So they said to Jet, what do you want to do? They thought he was insane when he said, I want to remake Fist of Fury. They said, are you crazy? There is no way you can do it better. No way. And he says, I know, but I can do what I want to do with it. And at this point, with us all deciding to go to Canada or to go to America until we see what's going to happen with China, Gordon Chan, who I've spoken with many times and worked with, was just the right director because he would let Jet do what he wanted to do in this movie. And Jet brought all this newfangled thinking into it. He knew what people had been criticizing Bruce for, which is everybody stands around and waits for Bruce to kick them. So they developed a different style where it made sense that he could do multiple people at the same time. Jackie did that too. Yeah, this is the scene where he lets multiple people go at him and he takes them. He didn't continue it on. Jackie does that in the original Armor of God when he takes on all those monks. Yeah. And he does it multiple, and he created a style of fighting which is circular. He would keep spinning so he could see where everybody was, behind him and in front of him and all around him. So that's one thing. All right. So they knew he could not, and also let me make it very clear. I can only think of one movie in the history of cinema where the remake was better than the original. Does anybody have one that they can think of? I had to look it up.
The Thing.
The Thing.
I don't agree with you on that one.
Really?
I saw the premiere, the screening for the studio of The Thing, and I had a problem with it because the Kurt Russell character was such an a-hole. The first thing he does is pour a drink into the only entertainment in the North Pole.
Yeah.
And they had that downer ending. Because I was hoping that they would do the original story ending. John Campbell's Who Goes There was the original story. So I wasn't as happy with it. Because also so much of the movie was based on doing movie takes, not reality takes. When the head of their friend sprouts spider legs, and their reaction to it is, you gotta be kidding. That's not the way you would react. I understand and I've talked to John Carpenter many times because I've written the book for 1 week only, The World of Exploitation Films. So I've known John for many years. But in any case, let me get back to my point because I'm losing it. The only movie I can think of where the remake was better than the original, in fact, the first two of them, was the Maltese Falcon. The Maltese Falcon, the Humphrey Bogart Maltese Falcon was the third version of that story. That's the only one I could think of.
What about Ben-Hur?
The Ben-Hur, that's true, but have you seen the silent version?
I have not.
They're about even.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
They're about even. Some of the silent stuff, you have to be in the right mood. It's the same thing with Jet. I watched Jet grow up. And by the way, the boxing thing, I wanted to make a point of the boxing thing.
Okay.
In the very first movie that Jet made after becoming a star with the Shaolin Temple movies, he was like 18 years old. The first movie, the only movie he ever directed, was called Born to Defense.
Defense, yeah.
He does boxing in there.
Yeah.
He does boxing long before that stuff. and he was doing it his own stuff. It's funny, the world heavyweight Tai Chi champion always has in his classes one class a year for boxing. And the reason he does that is that he wants to see how his vaunted, excellent black sash, red belt Tai Chi guys do. And he will always do bouts with each of his students. 1 minute bouts. He doesn't even do 3 minutes. He does 1 minute bouts. And invariably, every single student can't catch their breath by the end of the minute.
Nice.
Boxing is all about stamina.
Yeah.
Boxing done right. Of course, I'm not happy about the fist still, but boxing is a sport. I would never recommend boxing to actually fight on the screen. At some point, if you guys want to do a class where I teach you all real kung fu and teach you how to actually fight effectively and smartly, I'd love to. That's what I want to do in the films I want to do too. In any case, so he's not an actor. He's hardly a performer as far as he's concerned. So he wanted to make a movie to immortalize his kung fu at this time. Born to Defense. Kung Fu made. Oh yes. What? Now you know I was the kung fu consultant for Kung Fu Panda.
Yes.
And have you seen Kung Fu Panda?
Yes.
What happens at the end of that? I'll tell you what happens at the end of that. The highest form of kung fu. I've already told you the second highest form: make your enemy your friend. Learn or not learn, not win or lose. Highest form of kung fu is if someone is self-destructive, self-hating enough to project their self-hatred onto you and try to hurt you. If they insist upon doing that, you, as a kung fu student, will help them. You will help them hurt themselves. Highest form of kung fu is not to take your energy and waste it on trying to hurt someone else. What you do, and I have done this, and I've seen others do this, is and Po does this at the end of Kung Fu Panda. You take your opponent's negative, aggressive energy and return it to them without damaging yourself in any way. We had a wonderful kung fu friend, Sanchez. Oh, he was just so amazing. Every time he saw me, he said, push me, push me, push me. And I said, no, I'm not going to push you because I know what's going to happen. And sure enough, but I loved when he did it, and it was so awesome. So I would joke around with him, and I go, oh, all right. And I would go to push him. And as my hand got close to him, I felt the energy already. When I pushed him, I pushed myself. I pushed him, and somehow his hand magically appeared on my shoulder. And I could feel my own energy going through him and right back into him.
Wow.
You know, they say stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
I would do this for a while. I would just keep doing, and then I would start going, stop pushing yourself, Rick. Stop pushing yourself.
Chat's a fan of the Kung Fu Panda movies. That's right. And
the third one is awesome.
Sexy Sumo says, skadoosh!
Yes. And by the way, we learned very quickly in the second one, because I knew the director very well, I worked on it, and skadoosh is not something physical. They made the huge mistake in Kung Fu Panda 2. They turned it into something physical. In other words, when he catches the cannonball, which no person in their right mind would ever do. And then says skadoosh, even the director who loved the director of Kung Fu Panda 2, but he admitted that she didn't understand Kung Fu at all. Skadoosh means that you've taken the next step toward enlightenment. He says skadoosh in the first and the third one because he does something awesome. I wanted to use the villain of the first one as one of the heroes of the second one because he learned.
Yes.
He learned it was about not damaging yourself. So you make the opponent hurt themselves. If they want to hurt you, you help them. You help them return the energy back to them and hurt themselves. So in any case, now we get into the good part.
All right.
Here we go. Fist of Legend was a great It was a great movie for Jet. He accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. You guys all know that Fist of Legend, you could guess this, was a failure in Hong Kong and China. It did not do well. It did well here, but it did not do well around the world. And did you know that somebody tried very hard to make sure that it didn't do well here? Just the same way they tried to do the same thing to Hero and to Shaolin Soccer.
Really?
Panda. Not Kung Fu Panda, excuse me. Kung Fu Hustle. No, not Kung Fu Hustle. Kung Fu Hustle was Sony. Which version of Fist of Legend did you see? Did you see?
Definitely the Dimension Films one.
There you go.
That's who.
That
That
was
is
Sabotage.
definitely who.
That was Sabotage. I did a editorial on the Daily Grindhouse website, which I think is still available. It was called A History of Disrespect. The Weinsteins and the Kung Fu film. The Weinsteins, specifically Harvey, I have to assume, because I've talked to Harvey once. I've seen the fear in all his staff eyes, but I talked to Harvey.
Wow.
Specifically about this subject. Not about Fist of Legend, but what he did to the Kung Fu film in America.
Yes.
And what he did specifically to Fist of Legend is that he changed the soundtrack, he changed the sound effects, and then he picked the most important lines in the movie. I'm trying to remember the first one, because that one was after he fought his friend. It was a very important telling change. I think I have it in the book and I can read it, but I will never forget the second one. At the end of the fight, Shoji Parada, the line they have in the movie is total bullshit. Originally, Jet says, but I lost. And Shoji, you see him do this. You see him lift his fist and crook his finger. He says, if you want to win a fight, bring a gun. Kung Fu is about harnessing your own energy. They took those lines out.
Wow.
They also took the line out about, let me see if I'll find it at some point. It was about being together, not being separate, not using hate to separate people. And they changed that line as well. Weinstein, and again, if you read the Weinstein list,
Wow.
they successfully prevented Kung Fu films getting a ground. That's why they made the sequel to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
To diminish. I mean, they're the best friends mainland China ever had, because mainland China is also trying to diminish Kung Fu film in mainland China now. Basically, I feel my theory is because they don't want 3 million people with an open mind, 3 billion people, with 2 billion people with an open mind. China, Kung Fu, martial arts closes the mind. Kung Fu opens the mind. My style is basically translated as open hand, open heart, open mind. And that's why you'll see me in pictures with all these other martial artists, and they're all making a fist, and I'm always,
Right.
this is the most effective. And so that's what Jet was trying to do. He was trying to show you real Kung Fu, and the Weinsteins did their best to try to drag it. But you can't really do real Kung Fu outside of the great thing about Kung Fu Panda and animation. That's why I I find it hilarious. The Mulan people heard my lecture. I'm pretty sure some of the Marvel people have heard my lecture that I did but only animation movies hire me as a consultant.
Wow.
And I think the main reason is that you don't have to train for 20 years. You have total control of your actor and your martial artist. It's only limited by your knowledge of Kung Fu or of martial arts. That's why Kung Fu Panda 2 wasn't as good as Kung Fu Panda 1 and 3, because the director and the writer on that one didn't have the knowledge that the writers and directors of the first and the third one had. And now I get to wait and see whether they listen to me on Minions Rise of Gru.
Oh wow.
We were 1 week away from seeing the rough cut when this happened. So now we just have to keep waiting. I'm pretty sure they listened to some of the things I said, because if you look at the toys they produced, you see one toy that was a specific reaction to one of my suggestions.
Oh no.
We'll see what happens.
Wow.
So anything else? All right, I think I've covered everything. Any questions you have about... I love Fist of Legend 2. My favorite Jet movies was Shaolin Temple 1. Shaolin Temple 2 is so stupid.
Yeah, it's fun.
But still, the Kung Fu is just...
Yeah.
I mean, the fights at the end when he does the 3-sectional staff.
Yes.
It's nuts.
You compare it to La Kali Young. La Kali Young is a better filmmaker, and you see the 3-sectional staff in 36 Chamber of Shaolin.
Yes.
And you see that it looks so much better than the one in Shaolin Temple 2. But shit, if you know Kung Fu, the one in Shaolin Temple 2 is Buddy Rich drumming time again. It's like...
Right.
And
was there, despite... oh, go ahead.
And martial
It's
arts...
on Amazon, by the way. I'm gonna watch that shit tonight.
Yeah.
What is that?
Martial arts Shaolin on Amazon.
Yeah.
Again, it's very Kung Fu, but you can also tell that La Kali Young had spent his career teaching actors how to do Kung Fu. Here he had all these Kung Fu guys, and you'll see it goes crazy.
Yeah.
It's the Busby Berkeley movie of Kung Fu.
Wow, that's cool.
He must have been in heaven.
He was in hog heaven. That's why that final fight with the three of them on the boat.
Yeah.
With the villain they're all real martial artists. It's again like
yeah,
I had to hold my head.
It's nuts. It's crazy.
It's staggering if you know what they did.
Yeah. So despite no, copy that. But despite Dimension Films kind of fucking it up, when I watched the Blu-ray last night from Dragon Dynasty, the whole opening credits are like terrible. They're like fake smoke mist. It was the font. It was just like, what is this? Did I make this on my editing machine at home? Like, what is this?
The one question I didn't ask Weinstein because I knew it was useful, because it's the moment I met his staff at the first time. I've met his staff throughout because we were constantly doing stuff with Inside Kung Fu and San Diego Comic-Con and other things. I knew I would never get any truth out of it. But I'm sorry, I wish I at least had asked the question to see his facial reaction. Another friend of mine is the amazing Kreskin. And the Kreskin has taught me some face muscle reading. And so I should have asked him. Because I did ask him, why did you do this? And he said, I made them better. And what I wanted to say is, look, I know you're sabotaging.
Yeah.
What I want to know is why. Were you scared by a Chinese as a child? Or is it just the Hollywood thing? Because I've worked on a bunch of, before I was consultant for these movies, I was also consultant for television, specifically on TV detectives. I wrote 2 award-winning books on TV detectives, and I wound up working on Columbo and Murder, She Wrote. And so I was friends with a lot of people. So I know another friend of mine was Linda Barnes, who wrote this best-selling series of mystery novels. And she was a Hollywood screenwriter before she became a mystery novelist. And I said, why haven't you sold your character to television? She said, I don't like the way they play. So she knew stuff that I discovered, which is for 80%, roughly, 20% of Hollywood are fucking geniuses. They stagger me. They're so good, so good. But 80% are venal, backstabbing bastards. And
sounds about right.
And the way they play is to tromp on your dreams, is to sabotage, only because they can. Not for any specific reason other than hating themselves and projecting onto you, and not being able to control themselves and wanting to have power over other people, and dashing their dreams. And so that's the way. I'm pretty sure Weinstein did this because when I was working on The Twilight Zone, the CBS reboot of The Twilight Zone, a friend of mine did the equivalent of crossing the ocean and climbing a mountain to stab me in the back.
Wow.
And I went to another producer, Harvey Fran, look him up on IMDb. He was the one that turned Bruce Lee down for the Kung Fu TV show.
Oh.
He was the
Wow.
one, he was the one that the network said, you tell him. And Harvey Fran had to go and say, and funny, Harvey said to me, you know, I kind of agreed with him. His English just wasn't strong enough. You know, if we wanted to train him for years, we could have gotten, but at that time, I kind of agreed with him. But he told this, it was still an awesome story because he said, I'm sorry, Bruce, but we're not going to go with you. Bruce looked like his heart exploded. Then he took a feather, he placed it upon the bridge of Harvey's nose. He stood in front of him. He swung his leg around in a circle and took the feather off without touching his nose.
Wow. Holy shit.
And Harvey went, Bruce, I know, but it's not about that. So anyway, I went to Harvey because Harvey was working on the Twilight Zone. And I told him this story about this guy who's a lovely guy. I could probably mention his name and you'd probably recognize it. I could certainly tell you one of the things he does and you would certainly recognize him. And I really liked him. He's written some great books and some other things. But he stabbed me in the back this way. And basically, I turned around to Harvey and said, why did he do this? And Harvey did a figurative turnaround and showed me his back. And basically, his back was covered in knives.
Jeez.
And he basically said, look, he did it because he saw there was room for it. He saw that someone hadn't done it to you yet.
Wow. Wow.
He did it because he could. And he did.
See, Master Chaos, that when you went to Tom Sizemore and told him he wasn't getting paid, that wasn't so bad.
That wasn't too bad.
Oh man, these guys, the great thing about having this network of anonymous people who tell me things. I mean, in other words, the James Bond book says that it's unedited. No, it's edited. I told them the story about what happened to Terry Hatcher on Tomorrow Never Dies. They kept it. So, yeah,
You know,
Michelle Yeoh gave me her Tomorrow Never Dies James Bond jacket.
Wow.
Oh, how cool.
Nice.
Awesome, man.
Gotta love Michelle. I just remembered one more. We're talking about this right now. You mentioning this, Rick. I just remembered one more thing with the whole Dimension Films thing. I kind of remember also that when Tai Chi Master was released here by Dimension Films, they called it Twin Warriors.
Yeah.
Nobody was a fucking twin. What? Because Jet Li and Siu-Ho, what's his name? Siu-Ho?
Yeah. Shinzo.
Well, because they were both bald in the beginning because they were Shaolin monks. Is that why they're twins? What the fuck?
That's the reason they might have used an excuse, but they were doing whatever they could. Because the thing is, Quentin Tarantino, who's one of their biggest guys,
Right.
loved this stuff. And the only reason they put out what they did, do you know the story of Hero? Do you know the story of Shaolin Soccer? And how they tried to,
Yeah.
the premiere date like a dozen times? They did everything they could to dilute it. Meanwhile, Quentin's going, release it.
Right.
Rudgeon re-released it. And Harvey Weinstein had the balls, but then again, Harvey Weinstein has the balls, to say he was surprised it made $50 million.
Wow.
And I said, if you hadn't have sabotaged it so consistently, it would have made $150 million. It is one of the great pieces of cinema ever made.
Right.
He did the same thing with Snowpiercer, didn't he?
Oh yeah. He just was his stuff. He would just beat up his staff and other people.
Right.
For his stuff, but anything that he could destroy, just for the hell of it, he did.
Right. But I just remember, why are they calling this is Tai Chi Master? Why are they calling it Twin Warriors? It was so bad.
And he needed a back to stab in it.
Yeah. Director Ranjit's got a question for you, Rick.
Unleashed.
Yes.
Unleashed was another one that Jet wanted to make.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I did too. He wanted to show that he had some range.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he could act when he wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm also a fan of Bodyguard from Beijing.
Yes, that one was good.
I thought that was pretty. I even kind of dug Hitman, but then again, I dug everything that these guys made as their last film in Hong Kong.
Right.
And I love Peace Hotel, which Chow Yun-Fat made as his last, in quotes, last movie in Hong Kong.
Right.
Because
Didn't it?
No, all bets are off.
Right. Didn't in Bodyguard from Beijing, didn't Jet Li use his belt again as a weapon?
I don't recall that.
He might have used the belt. I'm not sure.
Towel.
It's been
In terms of criticizing, I was disappointed by the belt.
in Hitman.
No,
I thought
in Fist of Legend, because I thought I wanted him to be as smart as Bruce was, not to do the same thing Bruce did, but to do it Jet style. And the belt is kind of Jet style.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, I was hoping it would be even more inventive, imaginative, and insightful.
Gotcha. Here we go. Confirmed by Dog Soldier.
Yeah,
Twin warriors. So I guess every single Shaolin monk, they're all related. Apparently. Did you guys know that?
Logic into it.
Man.
Maybe he used. I don't know. I don't know any of this, but maybe he used the belt as a last resort, too. Like, I don't know.
Well, when Jet was asked, was this by me? I'm trying to remember whether I asked him this question. But when asked, what's the difference between making films in Hong Kong and making films in America? He said, well, in Hong Kong, we do the drama for 1 week a month, fighting for 3 weeks a month. In America, we do the fighting for 1 day,
Yep.
and the drama for the rest of the month.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yeah, so that's, and also here in America, well, that's one of the reasons that Cynthia Rothrock loves America more, even though her Hong Kong movies are better.
Yeah.
She doesn't get damaged. She doesn't get damaged the way you get damaged. And that's why Chow Yun-Fat, even though his movies in Hong Kong are better, he loves working in America.
Right.
His whole thing is, did you see the dressing room Disney gave me for pirates?
What was he in that movie for 5 seconds?
He didn't care.
That's true. Oh man.
All these guys. I talked to Wang Long-Wai, and he was saying that he was getting, for all the movies he made at Shaw Brothers, he got about the equivalent of $75.
Wow.
Unless you're elite.
That's crazy.
That's why all the Shaw people told me that they felt that Run Run Shaw closed down the film units in 1984 because he was afraid he would have to start paying them more money.
Jeez.
And he went just to television production.
Wow.
But still.
Yeah. So before we give our vote, again, story time with Rick Myers is always a good time. But we have to pick one. There has to be one. There can only be one winner tonight. That's right. So let's go ahead and get to it. Oh, before we get to it, Director Ranjit has one more question, Rick, for you.
Oh my God, yes.
Was everyone wasted in Mulan? That's the real question.
Well, again, I have stories about that too. I haven't got. There are several stories I asked when I was at Disney, and they wouldn't answer me. But then again, Mulan had not been finished by the time I lectured in 2017. I was asking them about Brave. What the hell happened to Brave? And again, they said that's another building. You have to go to Pixar and ask them, and try not to get kicked out of the building. Yes, Jet Li was wasted. Everybody was wasted.
Yep, Donnie, everyone. Yep.
That was suicide. That was.
Oh, that's the best review I've ever heard. Mulan, that was suicide.
Basically, there's a period of time. There was a transition at Disney. I've been through several transitions at Disney. I first went to Disney during the Ron Miller years, right after Walt died. And so I've seen how their films can be sabotaged intentionally or unintentionally.
Wow.
Right.
For the most part, now that they have Pixar, Marvel, National Geographic, the quality is so much better. So when something like Rise of Skywalker happens, there's got to be a reason. I believe Rise of Skywalker and Mulan were being, and also even John Carpenter of Mars. I have a theory on that. That's semi-backed up.
Right.
But at the same time, Rise of Skywalker and Mulan were being produced at the same time, and they suffered the same terrible fate, which was this terrible dance of death that all the film studios were doing with China at the time. And there came to a point in each of those films where they knew they were screwed.
Wow.
Basically, they turned to their filmmaker, and in the case of J.J. Abrams, who really took it bad, they said, just finish it.
Wow. Yep. I'm not surprised. That sounds about right.
Mulan, they just sort of went, we've got dead woman walking here.
Yeah.
We're gonna stick this, and there's a reason that Soul didn't have the $30 charge. And
Oh yeah.
Mulan and Raya do. And basically, for me, it comes down to they were very proud of Soul and believed it could walk on its own 2 feet. They
Okay.
did not feel the same about the other two.
Wow. And didn't Mulan do bad over there too, right?
Of course it did.
Yeah.
Wow,
It
man.
was stunningly insulting. It was like
That's embarrassing.
Oh my! And if you just watch the making of it, do you guys have Disney Plus?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I
Just
do.
watch the. If you want to see something, you want to see true blindness. Watch the making of short documentaries about Mulan, and watch these. Oh, it's the best kung fu you'll ever see.
Oh God.
Oh, everything is so great. And you watch Jet Li in these scenes where they're ripping off Once Upon a Time in China.
Oh God. Oh God.
They're ripping off all. They're doing the same way they name check Chi and they name check the Phoenix. Both things I talked about at length. They didn't call me back about. They did the same thing to everything else. And Jet, even Jason, Scott Lee, and Gong Lee, and everybody just sort of went.
Wow.
So and even Donnie. The only thing Donnie didn't do half-ass was his own show-off.
Of course.
Right.
Donnie is good, but for the rest of it, they'll openly admit in private, I'm sure, not to me, I haven't asked them,
Right.
that it's the worst stuff they ever do because it didn't make any difference.
Oh man.
So they were sort of mirroring the girl who played Mulan, who was just dead-eyed throughout the
Right.
She was just dead-eyed.
Right.
You know, I'm glad Chow Yun-Fat wasn't in that movie because
Oh yeah.
Chow Yun-Fat couldn't be dead-eyed if he tried.
Yeah. I miss that guy, man. I really miss Chow Yun-Fat.
Such an awesome dude.
Yeah, I miss him.
Professions is I didn't get a picture with him, which I still kick myself about. But he signed a little mini poster of Hard Boiled to me.
Yes. There you go, Tony. Tony.
There it is again.
Tony. Hard boiled, baby.
But wait, John Woo then signed one of the bullets from the movie.
Oh.
Great. And I have the picture of Chow Yun-Fat, and then I have the recessed in the picture is the bullet signed by John Woo, which is an actual shell that was expended on the film of Hard Boiled.
Wow.
That's
That's amazing. But yeah, I love Chow Yun-Fat. I miss him.
Guys are so bad for me. My head is swollen this big now.
Hey, it's awesome. But Tony hasn't seen Hard Boiled yet. Rick, remember he's on his way. He's got the movie. He's on his way.
See,
and the reason
I was saving it because they were talking about having it on a versus episode, so I was saving it.
So
for
Rick,
that.
Rick, now that you're here, we need your help.
What?
We need your help. We'll discuss after the stream. But we need your help. We need to find something that could go up against Hard Boiled. something that. So we need help with that because we're thinking it's like taking forever because Hard Boiled's so awesome.
If he can't figure it out, then we just don't do the episode.
No, I can figure it out.
No, Rick.
I know. I'm saying,
if Rick can't figure it out,
then no one
can. We won't do it. We won't do it. All right.
I just wrote out all that stuff about gun fu. Yeah.
Yeah, he can find one. But yeah, we'll discuss afterwards. But Chaos has to get going. But while he's here, let's go ahead and we need him to vote before he heads out. We can keep talking, but Chaos has to go. So, all right, it is voting time. All right, we're gonna start with Chaos. We're gonna go around again to Rick. Okay, Chaos.
Fist of Legend.
I knew it. Fist of Legend.
I know. Fist of Fury. I think it's one that I would rewatch over and over. I introduced my son to Bruce Lee that way. So yeah, absolutely, Fist of Fury for me.
Nice, Eric. Who is your pick?
I'm going with Fist of Legend.
Oh shit!
Okay.
All right.
The multi-dimensional side characters, a lot of helps to bridge the action scenes.
All right.
It's interesting stuff, and the action comes correct. So yeah.
Nice. That's why this is versus. This makes things interesting. Me, all I got to say is that very last shot where Bruce Lee does the jump kick, kicks what you call in the throat, motherfucker flies through the wall, 50 feet lands, and Bruce Lee jumps out and does this most ferocious scream, the greatest battle cry roar scream in the history, better than Into the Dragon's screams.
Yeah.
Gives me a fucking action boner. Okay? Blah! I mean, it gives, I can't, I just go, fuck yeah. It gives me the fuck yeah, moves. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Love Fist of Legend, still in my top 5, but I gotta go Fist of Fury. It's too iconic. Tony.
Well, now what do you think I'm gonna pick? You said you were gonna tell me.
Fist of Legend.
Fist of Legend had better fights. Fist of Fury had a better story. And I'd watch Fist of Fury before I'd watch Fist of Legend again. I'm going to go with Fist of Fury.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I'm stunned. Okay.
It's like this, though.
Yeah.
It's so close.
Yeah. That's why I picked this for Versus. This is perfect. Kyle?
Again, like, Fist of Legend does have... It is a good remake in its own right. But definitely Fist of Fury... Bruce Lee is still number 1 in my books, and it's still number 1 for here. And that's my choice.
Nice. Rick, what do we got, my friend?
Well, from historic standpoint, from cinematic standpoint, from the history of Kung Fu standpoint, no question that Kung Fu is better in Fist of Legend because many years later, and Kung Fu hadn't come into Hong Kong film until Bruce Lee did it. But there's and even Jet will openly admit this. If Bruce had lived and done his own remake or a sequel, the Kung Fu would have been better than Jet did because Kung Fu has not progressed cinematically.
Right.
But it'll never progress because it's so magical in reality. But in cinematically, only an artist like Bruce could have progressed that. So in every other way, except for the specific Kung Fu,
yeah. Woo! Oh yeah! Poor
Eric.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what I'm talking about. Like I said, Fist of Legend's great. It's badass. I love it. It's my top 5. Jet Li, but I just, like I said, action boner, man. I can't. I just thrills, man. I just can't. But to be honest, I actually thought it was going to be a clean sweep tonight. I actually thought I was going to be the only one to choose Fist of Fury. I actually thought everyone else was going to, because the fights are a lot more modern, especially, that's why I picked it for Tony, because he's new to it, and he's going to be like, man, fuck this bullshit, Bruce Lee throwing dummies around fucking shit. This is the fucking shit right here, right? That's why I thought he was going to pick, Rick, I don't know, because Rick's old school, he's like, he's OG, so he may have gone Fist of Fury, but yeah, I actually thought, even with the voting polls. So let me show you really quick before Chaos bounces out. Even with the
for me,
even for the voting poll from the Movie Dojo Army, check it out. I even expected the Movie Dojo Army to pick Fist of Legend, and look, bam, they voted Fist of Fury over Fist of Legend. Also, check this out. Look at this. Look at the range here. Look at that.
Oh wow.
Not even close.
No.
Not even close. So even the Movie Dojo Army was like Fist of Fury because it's just too iconic. So on tonight's episode of Versus, the winner is Fist of Fury. Yeah.
Oh, you did there.
Yeah. That was my younger days.
3 hours. It only took 3 hours.
Literally, like right on 3 hour mark.
Oh, that was perfect. That was perfect.
Most important lesson: it's not getting me to talk; it's getting me to shut up.
Hey, but we can listen to you talk all day. I guess we can go ahead and segue to go ahead and end it tonight. Thank you, all my guests, especially Rick, for joining. You made tonight's Versus episode very special. I will keep in contact with you, my friend. We'll get you on here just for a podcast, just me and you, talking about our love for martial arts cinema. We will definitely do that. Chaos, again, thank you. Chat, don't forget, Movie Dojo Army. Make sure you subscribe to Master Chaos. Subscribe to Tony of the Dead. Subscribe to Asian Movie Enthusiasts. Follow the works of Kyle, that's right, Wong, Night Watch coming out. Make sure you support Badassity. Get the books from Rick. Buy all of them, goddammit. Buy all of them. Yes, and the new one right there. And Rick, I have a feeling Rick will be a regular here on the channel, which I can't wait. I can't wait to have him back. Oh, what we got?
My latest one.
Oh shit! All right. Yeah.
The novel version of the very first job I ever did in writing the comic book Target.
Love it.
Nice.
Love it. That's right. Rick knows his comic book shit too. That's right, y'all.
Awesome.
When he reviews superhero stuff and Marvel and DC, you listen. He knows his shit, even in that area too. But this was a lot of fun tonight. Chat, Movie Dojo Army, thank you for watching, hanging out with us badasses. Thank you for liking the video. Don't forget to check out that Phat Samurai Guy merch store. Mugs, t-shirts, all the good stuff. Not fat asses, Master Chaos. Not fat asses, god damn it.
Hey, I wasn't gonna say it. You brought it up.
It's too fun. It's too funny not to. It's too funny not to. I don't mind it. Damn it. But yeah, check out the merch store and subscribe to me if you haven't. I appreciate you hanging out and supporting the channel. All right, until next time, you will see the next Versus episode. I need to think of what I'm doing next Thursday. You will see it scheduled. Oh, quick segue. Me. What are you doing there? You punching my armpit. You punching my armpit.
I'll get Tony. I'll get Tony.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, Rick's doing that. No, I'm out. I'm out. I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that. But yeah, just a quick reminder, this Monday on the next Is It Really That Bad episode at 6 p.m. Pacific time, join me and Eric. We're talking about the movie The Hunted. And not the one you're thinking about.
Oh.
The one no one talks about.
Christopher Lambert?
It's Christopher Lambert and John Lone. So we're going to talk about that one on Monday. So join us for that. And until next time, you guys keep being badasses. See you guys again, I think. Punch armpits! For those that deserve it. I'm just kidding. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.
Yeah.